What is happening, San Diego? Great Thursday morning to you. Welcome back. It's your midday hang. Annie and Elsten reporting for duty on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It is raining outside. It is cloudy. It is gloomy. But in here, sunshine and rainbows. And we are ready to roll for the next 4 hours live, local, San Diego sports audio entertainment for your earlobes and for your viewing pleasure on YouTube as well. Annie Halbrun's here with Braden Zaprenant. I'm Craig Elsten. What's going on, Annie?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I saw my life flash before me a few times on the drive over here.
Yeah.
So hopefully everybody fares better than I do, but be careful out there. It's just all the pooling of the water.
Yeah.
I think that I took some back roads, which in retrospect probably made it worse.
Would you go Mission Gorge today?
Yes. But there's so much pooling of the water that the cars are sort of like
hydroplaning.
Yes, yeah. So be careful out there. We're all here safe and sound, so that's great.
Indeed. Saw a spin out right when I got on the freeway today, but it only slowed me just so we're all here together.
Keep your eyes alert.
One time, many years ago, multiple radio stations ago, and in a morning show job, it was pouring rain, and I was driving in for the 6 a.m. shift. And, right the 8 West at College, right when you go underneath the overpass that would take you straight into San Diego State, and then it goes downhill.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
You got that hill
I
down
do, yeah.
heading toward Mission Gorge. Spun out there
Ooh.
one time on pooled water. And in the dead of morning, dark, and then you think you're driving along normal. All of a sudden you feel your rear wheels just going right out from underneath you.
Feeling.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And let me just say, too, there's a pothole issue, I think, still happening in San Diego. And that doesn't help with everything pooling and doing. And so maybe city could just keep trying to fix that, I guess.
Fix the pothole.
Fix
That'd
the
be
potholes.
great.
That'd
Hey,
be great.
that's where our commons can go. Hey, well, guess what? Gotta say, first time in the new year, woke up completely fine. Not that I'm not excited to be here every day. I am. Every day it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. This is a great job to have.
Yes.
But sometimes in the off season, putting together the show requires a bit of creativity, a little bit of work, a little bit of elbow grease. Really got to lock in, got to dig down just to find you guys 4 hours of compelling information and fun segments and everything else. And all the while, what did we want? All the while, what did we dream for day after day? The Padres to spend money. Padres to make moves, make the team better, put the team in a great position going into 2025. We've been here on this beat for y'all every day, Monday through Friday, knocking it out, waiting, hearing a lot of stuff, seeing a lot of stuff. Oh, the Padres will never, the window's closed. The Padres simply can't afford to do anything. Harold Reynolds talk. By the way, I've got some more of him from this morning.
Oh, did you talk again? Okay, I didn't hear this.
Yeah. Got that for a little bit later. Right, Harold Reynolds? Well, things are just, it's so sad. Doing the postmortem, it's so sad to see what's happened in San Diego and the tear down of the team. And, boy, they're just going to have to trade Cease and King for minor leaguers. They just got no choice. They got nothing to do. And here come your San Diego Padres. Have we had questions about ownership? Of course. There's been a change. There's been a battle. There's been a scuffle. You didn't know. You weren't sure. No one's been able to speak yet. You weren't sure. You know what speaks louder than words? Actions. Signing Nick Pavetta and putting the Padres well over the CBT. Almost irrevocably over the CBT for 2025. That's a statement, Annie. That's a statement. The San Diego Padres are coming to win in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're a fan, and I think fans have been asking for this all along, right, to see the team spend money, I think it still illustrates their cash flow problems. They wouldn't be signing people to contracts for $1 million the same way they did Michael King, that they've done they did the left fielders for $1 million each. This guy's Pavetta's getting $1 million this year. He's getting a $3 million signing bonus, but hats off to Nick Pavetta and his agent for also agreeing to this kind of deal where you get to backload the money, and the money is tomorrow's problem and the next year's problem, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I mean, this is, look, if you're a fan, why not? If the team said that they couldn't spend over the CBT, but now they are, well, hey, all bets are off. If you're a fan, let's hope you're going to get some more signings and some more people being added to this roster and some more pushing the CBT, because that's, what you guys deserve. Well,
right now, based on Fangraphs roster resource page, shout out Jason R. Martinez, Padre fan that works on that all the time. The Padres are at $258 million. Now, they just signed Hart, so I guess it would be $259 million is where their specifically competitive balance tax is. Actual payroll, like 207, but competitive balance tax, 259.
Yeah, actual payroll. So Fangraphs includes, I checked on this, Fangraphs includes, their actual payroll is more like the 197 that the UT put out. It's the cash flow. Fangraphs puts out
207.
Because they incorporate something else. They incorporate the signing bonuses into the prorated deal or over the course of the number of years or whatever. So when you're comparing from team to team, Fangraphs is good to use, but for the purposes of like the Padres cash flow, my belief is it's more like the Union Tribune.
Well, that's fine. Either way, the CBT number is going to be what it is, which is irrespective of the actual payroll number. And that number is 259, and the second apron is 261. So they are now right up against the second apron. And I remember very specifically when the season was over, I remember you and I doing one of these post-mortem, off-season previews, and we laid it out. We said, for the Padres to compete in 2025, they got to do one of two things. They either have to commit to spending right up to the second apron. You don't want to go over the second apron.
Right.
That's a bad place to be. But spend right up to it, which we knew gave them about this much money, or you're going to have to make trades, and you're going to have to move big league players in order to change the big league team. It's one or the other. And then we heard the whole winter, quote, no scenario by which the Padres will go over the first level of the CBT, that the Padres are committed to cutting payroll again. And then we heard, well, they're committed to holding it $200 million. And we saw, well, that's basically just the pay raises. That wasn't going to pay anybody. That was the raises to Manny and Toddy and Joe and everyone else, you, et cetera, Jake. Now, new story. Padres have done the thing we literally were asking them to do. That's what they did. They're spending into 2025. They know there's a ton of money coming off the books next year.
Yeah, this is the kind of deal that allows them to worry about the money in future years, because the money's coming off the books. They'll lose the Hosmer deal, the money that they've been paying Hosmer. This is the last year of that. Dylan Cease is probably walking. You get rid of his salary. Are you keeping Luis Arraez? That salary might go. Will Michael King stay? That salary might go. Will Robert Suarez stay if he doesn't get traded? That salary might go, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Manny's salary is going to shoot up 2 years from now, I believe. So essentially for Nick Pavetta, you're getting the 2 years at $12.5 million, something like that.
Basically, yeah.
Basically, 2 years guaranteed at $12.5 million, which is a steal. That part is a steal. It's an absolute steal for the Padres. The next 2 years, I am a little surprised they went 4 years. I assume that's because Nick Pavetta's part wanted to go 4 years, and that's what they were going to take. But it just kind of depends on how Nick Pavetta pitches. If that year of 18 or 14 or whatever it is, if those following 2 years work out for the Padres. But, you worry about that then. So if Nick Pavetta can be a more consistent pitcher, and certainly the advanced metrics show that he has the stuff and that there's the potential for that, and we'll get into all that. But for them, it allows them to be very creative and keep the payroll to the under $200 million. But now, listen, who knows? I mean, they're the ones who told reporters yesterday that they were going to look internally for a 4-5 pitcher. They said that straight to their faces.
Yes, they
looked them in the eyes and told that to their faces. And then 2 hours later, they signed Nick Pavetta. So who's to say that they can't go to 215, 230, go into the second tax threshold? Why should we believe in anything, really? So I think that's kind of where you're at. Hey, spend. The fans out there have seen their ticket prices raised. They've paid more for concessions and this and that. Go out and spend a lot of money.
Well, Nick Pavetta is, I didn't think I'd be this excited about the signing of Nick Pavetta. In fact, you remember, I know you do because we were just talking about it before the show, the last time we talked about Nick Pavetta on the show, and it was thought of as kind of a shoot the moon if we traded Dylan Cease and then we got some young guys back. What if the team was willing to reinvest the money to go get Nick Pavetta? It was a completely different pretzel logic type situation where they were going to find their way to a Pavetta contract. No, they went out and signed Pavetta now. They put it right away. And in doing so, I really think we're putting to bed the idea that Cease must move.
I don't think they trade him. I really don't. I mean, why do this kind of a deal for $1 million and pay so much attention to keeping this year at these like $1 million deals? You know, why do that if you need to trade Cease? If they knew they were trading Cease, they could have given Nick Pavetta $8 million this year or $10 million this year or whatever, because that money would have come off the books for Cease. So I'm going to go with, hey, you're keeping the team. Maybe you're trading Suarez, but I'm not even going to say that right now. I think you're just keeping everyone.
Yeah, I think so too. I actually completely believe that. I think that it is Padres we ride. Now, maybe Suarez. Maybe. But here's where we're at now. We're at the spot where A.J. Preller gets to do what he loves. Set a price, set targets, and say, do you want to meet my price? Okay, then we'll do it. If you're going to move a guy to get a Kobe Mayo, a Matt Shaw from Chicago, someone who would step right into your starting lineup, play for the next 6 years, be an impact player, maybe be on the level of a Jackson Merrill, somebody who's coming in as a future star of your team. Okay, he might make that move now. That door might be open for him now because he's built a real major league team again. We've got a little bit of an issue at DH. We got a couple of things that we could tweak here and there.
Yeah, and it was interesting to hear Mike Shildt say yesterday about Connor Joe, first base, DH. I see that they talked again today, Preller and Shildt, so I'm not sure if anything was anything more was said, but he kind of slotted Connor Joe into that DH role.
For now.
So exactly. Like, you don't exactly know who's going, and I can't imagine that Jason Hayward is going to hit against righties and lefties, but I don't know for sure that that's not the plan.
Well, you know what I got to say to that? Let's go get another dude for $1 million.
Yeah.
Because our $1 million spending spree is amazing right now. Getting Connor for $1 million, getting Hayward for $1 million. What is King getting paid this year? $1 million.
$1 million.
How about Nick Pavetta? What's his deal going to be? $1 million. Kyle Hart, $1 million. Okay. Who's the next $1 million taker? Come on down.
And that's why I say, like, no matter what is said, like that is illustrative of them having a payroll number, a cash flow number, or whatever that they need to stick to, or that they feel they need to stick to, or they wouldn't have to do these deals. You wouldn't be doing these $1 million deals structured the way that they are, backloaded the way they are, if not for that. But this is where they are. And hey, they just signed Hart, whatever, right?
Yeah,
that's $1
Kyle
million.
Hart.
I mean, this is a guy who really struggled in his first 3 starts and 4 appearances for Boston, but that was 2020. Goes to Korea, gets, much improved, comes back. They're taking a flyer on him. He's your lefty in the rotation. A lot of these guys could have good upside that, could be realized with Ruben Niebla.
I think this is a really exciting day. I think this is the most exciting day for Padres fans since Game 3 of the DS. It's the most, because I had this metaphor earlier, a couple weeks ago or a week ago, Annie, and I'd like to pay it off now. The shutout streak is over. It started with a 24-inning scoreless streak, and it felt like it continued through the whole offseason. While the Dodgers got Snell, and the Dodgers got Sasaki, and the Dodgers got Scott, and the Dodgers got everyone. And then the Diamondbacks got Burns, and the Diamondbacks got Naylor. And you looked all around. The Giants got Adames. The Giants got Verlander. And the Padres were just sitting there on their hands. But they weren't. They weren't just sitting on their hands. They weren't just sitting back watching their phones. They were waiting. They were waiting for the moment that the market could come to where they could take advantage of it. And a week or two ago, we also discussed that the Padres were the only team with 4 40-man roster spots available. The only team that could truly provide some opportunity to guys that are out there on the free agent market that weren't going to have jobs. And look what they did. They got them all for $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you can compare some of the value. I don't know that you can compare some of the veteran guys that were signed with other teams to some of these deals. I mean, how do we know what's his name? Hart? What's his name?
Kyle Hart.
Kyle Hart. How do we really know what Kyle Hart is going to do in the big leagues? Or how do we, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know what Jason Hayward or how much he has left in the tank. We don't know Connor Joe. They are flyers at the end of the day, right? But under the right system, in the right environment, with the right coaching, or, the people that believe in them, in terms of having a comeback season and having confidence in their ability to play a role for the team, could be another year where you have Jerks and Profar type performance, or David Peralta, Donovan Solano type performances from these players, and that's essentially what they're going for. So the optimism is good, right? Why not?
All we've asked for as a fan base, whenever I've had a chance to have a mic in front of me, all we've ever asked for is for this team to compete, to spend the money that they need to spend to be competitive, to do it at the right times, not understanding we're not going to sit up there in Dodger Town. No one will. We can't spend like the Mets. We can't spend like the Yankees or even the Cubs if they really wanted to. Maybe even, there's several teams we can't spend like, but we can spend to the level we need to.
Yeah.
And there's going to come a time in a couple years when Salas and DeVries will be in the lineup, when they'll have an ability once again to crank it back a little. They're going to work toward that. But this year, this specific year, 2025, was a year that they needed to do whatever they could to put the best team possible on the field to maximize the window of what age Manny is, what age Toddy is, what, the guys that you have this year. And the Pavetta signing did that. It did that. It seems, who cares? They got a mid-rotation starter. No. Don't go there. Look at the message that's sent, because they went right over the CBT in order to do it.
Yeah, and they're better today than they were yesterday. They're better. They have a better rotation. They still need work on that rotation. The story that got buried because of the Pavetta signing, that it sounds like you read too, was AC's story about the facts of how many teams, how many starting pitchers teams typically need to make the playoffs and have a good run. The Padres really lucked out last year. It was like a once in a 15-year type thing that they were able to utilize. I believe it was only 8 starters, right, to get through the year. That is not going to happen most years, and your depth has to be pretty good. I mean, your depth still right now are the Waldrons. Who knows? Is Kolek even going to be stretched out now? I mean,
sure, I think he will, because that's your 9th guy or your 10th guy.
Yeah, exactly. So they still want to, hope for some good performances from these guys. Like you'll probably need that. But yeah, I mean, they're in a better position today than they were yesterday for sure.
All right, we got a big show lined up. It's going to be a lot of baseball today. To be sure, as you know, spring training, Sammy Levitt is out there. He's gotten some A.J. Preller sound. We'll be pushing that through the show as we continue forward, especially into the 11 a.m. hour, our Padres Deep Dive hour. We're going to get all the way into Nick Pavetta. We're going to get all the way into Kyle Hart. We're going to discuss all of these players. We'll bring you all the latest news and sound from Padres spring training as we continue forward till 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock, we'll bring you the 12 o'clock Sports Fix. Also, the Daily Shildt. We'll hear what Mike had to say. I'm sure good things. Anybody Knows will be coming your way as today's silly game around 12:40, 12:45. And we'll wrap up the show with Ask Us Anything. But when we come back, I'm really thinking, Braden knows, we were texting back and forth last night. What is the message that's being sent here with this signing of Nick Pavetta? I feel like I got an idea of what it is, and we'll talk about it when we come back. Annie and Elsten underway. Fun day for you. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 1024 on the Fan. Great day to be on the radio. Annie and Elsten here with you, talking Padres. Reminding you that if you're listening on the Odyssey app, we'll pay you back. It gives you a daily opportunity at the Slam Dunk in Vegas national contest. All you have to do is download and listen to the Odyssey app. Log in, listen to 97.3 The Fan for at least an hour, and you'll earn your daily entry into this national contest. The grand prize, travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas' premium sports viewing destination, where you can watch the biggest March Hoops party at Stadium Swim, plus $20,000 cash. Good luck. All right. So the news comes down last night. Padres signed Nick Pavetta, 4-year contract. He was the best available starter on the market. And really surprising to me in this sense, Annie, that Jack Flaherty was the guy right in front of him on the free agent list. It didn't seem like there was a ton of daylight between Jack Flaherty and Nick Pavetta in terms of their performance, where they were in their careers. I mean, you could say Nick's been a little higher ERA, but a lot steadier. Jack's been more up and down, but maybe he had a slightly better 2024. But in the end, Padres got Pavetta for way less than Flaherty.
Yeah, I don't know what the comparison was there in terms of like how they must have, maybe, I don't know. Nick Pavetta didn't take his qualifying offer. Perhaps the market was not exactly what he wanted in terms of offers, and he was able to take what the Padres ended up giving him there. Maybe he wanted more. I don't know. Maybe he wanted something closer to what Flaherty was given. But it seems like a good deal for him still. I mean, it's still seems more, honestly, a little bit more team friendly, at least the first 2 years for sure. But no, he's a good pitcher, a 4-5 pitcher, a guy with great strikeout stuff, low walk. Interestingly, in 2023, he started with the Red Sox pretty horribly. I mean, he had an ERA of like 6 over his first 8 starts. And then he was moved to the bullpen, where in the bullpen, he found his strikeout stuff again, and they used him in the bullpen for the remainder there, and then they stretched him out again and put him back in the rotation. So he could be someone even that if the Padres make the playoffs, you see him back in the bullpen. He can do both, but you really are signing him to be part of that rotation. I think that I've seen all the stuff about his advanced stats and how the ERA is really not the only stat you can be looking at with him, and really you should never just be looking at ERA for a pitcher because it doesn't tell the whole story. But I do think he'll do better at Petco, but I will point out that Petco has been playing more average as a ballpark, especially in years of late. I mean, the park factor for Petco last year, I believe, I looked it up last night, was 99, and for the Red Sox it was 102. So, and Petco had way more home runs go out of it than Fenway did. Fenway's a weird park with all kinds of weird angles, so in that sense, I think it's going to be better for any pitcher probably to be at Petco, but it doesn't necessarily play like the big ballpark that we've talked about we used to talk about with Petco. We saw how many times did we talk about how many home runs left this ballpark last year?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So he does kind of have to fix that. I think that is kind of a notch on his resume that needs a little work. And I'm sure with Ruben Niebla, they'll work on his usage. They'll work on him doing that and making sure that you're not giving up the home run ball. He looks like a guy he can give you like 7 innings of seven shutout innings one start, and then maybe the next start struggle a little bit.
Sounds like Dylan Cease.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But I think Dylan's kind of proven a little bit more throughout his career.
Who had longer, more inconsistent stretches last year than Dylan Cease? He had multiple 8-start stretches with ERAs well over 5. I hear what you're saying, but I think I'm higher on Nick Pavetta than you are. I really like this fit for a specific reason. And Eno Saris was on with Ben and Woods this morning and made a very interesting point. He talked about how, we now have the ability to really analyze pitchers so much better, and that you can take it a different notch from, okay, well, Boston, therefore homers, San Diego, therefore not homers, right? He was giving up homers on his sweeper. He was giving up a lot of homers on his sweeper last year. Okay, that's something Ruben Niebla has worked on with so many pitchers over the last 3 years. He wasn't getting incredible movement on his cutter. Well, that's something Ruben Niebla has worked on with guys over the last couple of years. I think about what he did with Seth Lugo and turning Seth Lugo from a 3-pitch pitcher into a 5-pitch pitcher. And the next year, Seth Lugo's out there at the All-Star game.
Yeah, no doubt.
For the Kansas City Royals. Now, I'm not saying Nick Pavetta is going to be at the All-Star game.
He might be.
I don't know that.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know that. But here's why I'm excited about this specifically. Yes, Nick Pavetta is going to give up 25 homers this year. Like, he's gonna. Look at every starting season he's had. 25, 24, 20, 24, 27, 23, 28. So he's going to hang some curves. He's going to leave a sweeper up. Someone's going to get on his high fastball one time that he doesn't have the induced vertical break that he has one of the best fastballs, high fastballs with ride in the zone in all of baseball. He's going to give up those homers. But he's also a fly ball pitcher. He's going to give up a lot of fly balls. Mm-hmm. So how about all the dozens of fly balls that aren't the 27 that go over the fence? Now we've got Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, and Jason Hayward to run those balls down. That could be as good a defensive outfield as there is in Major League Baseball, and that could chip a little bit away into those Nick Pavetta numbers overall.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the defense for the Padres, I would say, is better. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the Red Sox defense, I don't think, was top notch in terms of backing him up all the time. And look, I mean, he's got good stuff, a lot of potential there. He's had success in his career. Seems like a real workhorse, someone who's really going to grind out there, who gives you, he's an innings eater. I believe he hasn't gone over, was it 150? I need to check that again. I think he hasn't gone over 140 or 150.
He had 1 year of 179.
1 year of 179, and then the other years were
142, but he went to the bullpen. And then last year, 145 in 27 starts.
Yeah, so hopefully they can get some more out of him, get him a little bit higher on that. But he's a good 4-5 starter. I mean, he's what you would want at the back of the rotation.
I think he's an excellent 4 starter. I think he's a 3 starter on a lot of staffs. And by making him your 4, now you've got yourself a rotation again. Because the Padres, unless they traded Dylan Cease, the Padres didn't need to replace Dylan Cease or find another Dylan Cease for their team this year. Unless they traded Michael King, they didn't need to find that. They've got it. But they don't have Joe Musgrove this year. So the thing they needed was a Joe Musgrove replacement. Last year, Joe Musgrove threw 99 innings, and he threw it in an ERA in the 4s. Gutted his way to it, as we knew now, with an elbow that was eventually going to need Tommy John. But in signing Nick Pavetta, you've got a guy that you could almost write it in. At least 140 innings with an ERA around 4.
Yeah, I think Joe deserves a little bit more respect than that. I mean, he's 3.86 in 2020. I know that was a short season, but 2021, 3.18 ERA, 2.93. I mean, he was an all-star. Nick Pavetta hasn't had those kinds of numbers, 3.05, 3.88. I mean, Joe was dealing with a really bad injury last year, so I don't know that he's a replacement for Joe. I think he's a good back of the rotation starter.
Okay, maybe I didn't say that very well. Joe Musgrove isn't here this year.
Yeah, I know.
So we need a replacement for him because he's not. I'm not saying we don't need Joe Musgrove because we've got Nick Pavetta and he's as good as Joe Musgrove. I'm saying his performance last year was actually better than Joe's performance last year, understanding that we would put Joe at the top of our staff and that he's a leader on the team and he's somebody that we're counting on in 2026, 2027, and going forward. But we can't count on him in 2025 for anything. And we didn't need a top of the rotation guy to replace him. We needed a middle of the rotation guy to replace him. And that's what we got. Yeah,
I look, this is good for the Padres, too, because you don't know who's leaving next year in terms of Cease and King. So you've got now, you'd have Darvish, Joe back, plus Pavetta. He'll have that year to work with the team, and then Joe will join the rotation again next year. So you've got a little bit more of a rotation put together, plus whoever ends up winning the job in that 5 spotter with some depth. I don't even know if they might go to a 6-man rotation. I mean, you've got to protect Yu Darvish. Remember, Yu Darvish was so great in the playoffs, but that's also because he had 2 months off. He had 2 months where he didn't pitch, that was after the injuries, but he had 2 months where he was dealing with the personal issue, and then he came back for the playoffs, and he essentially had a rested arm, and that's nothing against Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish is amazing, but even at FanFest, he said his body's been getting stiff in some certain places, and he's been trying to work that out and use the offseason to figure that out. So you got to kind of figure out how you're going to keep him fresh and healthy, and in the hopes that you're going to get to the playoffs and be able to use him as well.
Absolutely. And one more guy that is a rock-solid, count-on-it starter in big league baseball takes you a huge step in that direction.
Agreed.
Huge step in that direction. Did not intend any disrespect to Joe Musgrove whatsoever.
Yeah.
Merely noting the fact he is injured and out for the season, so we need to replace him. And that's what we're doing. And I didn't think we were going to do that. I thought we were going to ride with all the guys we had and say, Matt Waldron, you're going to step into Joe Musgrove's role.
Well, that's what they told reporters yesterday. Told reporters yesterday they're going internal, that they are going to use Stephen Kolek and Matt Waldron and Brito and Vasquez and kind of see what they have there. So, hey, guess you always reserve the right to change your mind.
All right, when we or to not tell the reporter what you're doing.
Exactly. Not tell the reporter what's actually happening.
Just go ahead and look him right in the eye and go, oh, no, we're not doing that. And then just go ahead and do it. And then say, hey, how's it going the next morning?
That's right.
Well, now we'll answer a new question from you. All right. We got lots still to come. We're going to hear from A.J. Preller when we get into the deep dive hour. Not one, but two starters signed today. We got to go back to that. Like, hey, you need more than 8? Okay. Well, now we got 6 before you get to Waldron. That's a pretty good situation now for the San Diego Padres. We'll talk about that and a lot more as we roll till 2 o'clock. Andy and Elsten on the Fan. 10:42 on the Fan. Annie and Elsten back with you. Been talking about the Padres signing of Nick Pavetta in this opening hour of the program. We're going to get to the other starter they signed, a left-hander who previously bounced around the minor leagues and then went to Korea and had a really good year.
Yeah.
Named Kyle Hart. This is a Nick Martinez 2.0.
Yeah, I keep wanting to call him Nick Hart, but he's Kyle Hart.
He is Kyle
But he
Hart.
is kind of like, he's like a Nicky Martinez.
Yeah. Trying to find something. Hey, Robert Suarez was a guy who went to Japan, right? Found success. They brought him back over. Whether or not we got Sasaki, and we didn't, the scouting over there is still paying dividends, year by year by year. We're going to get into that. We've got some of his sound. We've got some of AJ Preller's sound. I heard the boys play it at the end of their show this morning, and we could almost write it out. We could almost write it out what AJ said.
Yeah, I don't know that it's breaking much news.
They're always looking for opportunities to improve the ball club.
Right.
They definitely are.
I mean, it is kind of interesting, too. Like Shildt, they talked about the financial creativity with Shildt. And, winners find solutions. So they're finding a solution to stay in the financial constraints that they have. And Shildt said, I applaud the Michael King deal. It was a good deal for both sides. I applaud Michael for being a good teammate to make sure we're not taking a hit on the salary too much this year. So clearly they're aware of the fact they are working within some parameters here. But I don't know that Preller gave that much leniency. We'll have to find out.
We'll hear from Shildt later as well. But you know what? In this case, couldn't agree more. Winners do find solutions.
Yeah.
And AJ Preller, it's wild how when you put restraints on the dude and you tell him you can't just go out and grab the flashiest thing that attracts you.
Yes.
You can't go out to the top of the market and take a big swing. At those moments in his career, we've seen AJ wobble. We've seen him make some decisions that maybe turned out to be a little bit regretful down the line. We've seen him miss on some big trades. But when you put constraints on him, when you give him the blinders or the restrictor plates, all of a sudden this dude is finding the best value on the market wherever he goes. And I'm sorry, AJ Masterclass, Jack Flaherty, 2 years, $35 million. Nick Pavetta, 2 years, $23 million.
I think also we got to wait and see how they both pitch. there might be a difference. I mean, we don't know, right? But yeah, I mean, maybe the Tigers overpaid for Jack Flaherty, and maybe Nick Pavetta got fleeced a little bit by the Padres in terms of a deal. I have no idea, right, how that might work out. I think we'll know more towards the ends of their deals, how it works out. But my guess is that both sides, good deals for both sides. And you're right. AJ Preller, he finds a way to get it done. He definitely has some constraints that he's working within. But being able to go over the CBT has to help tremendously.
100%. Can't keep saying this enough. I'm going to be a broken record probably for a while about this, but the reporting was that this was not possible with the change in ownership, with the battle for ownership, with the lawsuit. We were worried about an 08-09 Padres situation or an 02-03 Padres situation where everything was on lockdown. And hey, did it look like that for a while? I mean, sure, it looked like that for a while because AJ had to wait to the end of the market in order to find the value, to create. The pressure had to be created by the market and by Father Time, just ripping days off the calendar and getting closer to spring training when you don't have a job. That creates a ton of pressure for a family, right? It creates a ton of pressure for an individual and for an agent, to get the job done, to get it done, to get you in so that you have a chance to succeed in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, for Nick Pavetta, again, turned down the qualifying offer, $21 million for the year. He could have taken that and then tried to hit free agency next year. But you turn that down, you almost have to go out there and get a multi-year deal. And the market, I think, was he took less than what the market had for him, I think, in terms of just maybe AAV. But it seems like it's still a pretty good deal for him, for a guy who wanted some longevity in the game.
100%. Now, he can't talk. He's not allowed to until he officially takes over as control person. It's going to be another 26 days or whatever. But John Seidler spoke last night, loud and clear. To my ears, I heard it loud and clear. There's been a kerfuffle. There's been discussion. There's been some unrest in the fan base. And what's the thing that we all just want our owners to do. Lay out the cash and make the team as good as it possibly can be. What's the way into someone's heart? Open up the checkbooks and improve the team and do it in a smart way. And by committing, and essentially they've done it. Now, look, they could go next week or in 6 weeks and trade Cease and Arraez and get under the number, and then we go, okay.
Right.
So we're sitting in this moment in time. I always want to say that because people always want to go, oh, well, a month ago you said something and then it didn't. So you're this or that. Well, in this moment in time, that's where we are. But they're $18 million over the first threshold now. The threshold is only $20 million. They're 18 into it.
And they, I think that's like a between $3 and $4 million penalty, something like that, because you're just penalizing the overages. So they must be okay, obviously, with paying this penalty, unless they do something like you just mentioned, they move stuff. But you'd have to do a lot to get under the CBT now, and I don't even know if it's possible. But I guess it is. But you'd have to do a lot. You'd have to trade more than one person, I think.
Yeah. You would. No, you would. Unless it was Bogarts. We don't have any one person that could take us down that far.
The CBT isn't decided till the end of the year. So I suppose if they aren't there where they want to be at the trade deadline, they can really move a lot of people and get under the CBT, because next year they'd have to pay the second penalty since they've breaking it this year. So, but you don't want to be in that position. And to your point, they're showing they want to compete. This is a competitive team. I mean, this is a good team. This looks like a good team.
Yeah. Now we can look at a 2026 rotation and say Darvish, Musgrove, Pavetta. We know that that's going to be there. Now we didn't.
Yes. Exactly.
We didn't have that going into yesterday. We didn't have three guys other than the Waldron, Vasquez, Brito, Berger. The young guys that are under control. In terms of like dudes, big league vets, we only had two guys. And one was going to be 40 and the other was going to be coming off Tommy John. It felt like a really risky rotation. Pavetta gives you at least a little ballast for 2026, a little bit more certainty going forward. And that's what I love about this deal, is that you've got this year now 4 major league starters, very reliable players. Will they wind up pitching to that level? We'll find out, right? We're going to go out. That's what the games are for, as Joe Davis said. Right? But but nonetheless, we've got now 4 you can count on, and now look at the back. Okay, Kyle Hart. Could he be the 5th starter?
Maybe. He's a lefty.
Maybe.
Could get that lefty look in there.
Could be a 5th starter for this team. Waldron, 6th. Vasquez, 7th. Brito, 8th. Kolek, 9th. You need 11 or 12 on average to get through a year.
It's a pretty good start.
You've got 9 now. You know, and if Kolek starts 2 games this year, or Brito starts 3 games this year, that's what it means. It doesn't mean that 11 guys are going to take turns all the time. It means that most of your guys are going to take their turns, but then somebody goes down, somebody has to step in. 2 guys go down at the same time, guys have to step in. Now, if 2 guys go down at the same time, Waldron and Vasquez are stepping in, or Vasquez and Hart are stepping in, and whoever is literally the best out of that pack of 5 guys, that's your 5th starter, instead of just handing the ball to somebody and guaranteeing it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can have them still continue to compete in the minors and show what they have and improve, and then hopefully get the call up when they're ready and they're needed. But no, absolutely. I mean, look, the Padres felt so strongly about this that they gave up a draft pick. They gave up their 2nd round pick. They gave up $500,000 in international money. The Red Sox got that pick, just like they got the pick for Xander Bogaerts from the Padres a few years ago. That's turned out really well for the Red Sox. So it is. You know that the team is really high on this when they give up something like that, because AJ likes his draft picks.
He sure does. I got a thought on that too, though, because yes, you're giving up this one, but Dylan Cease, Michael King going into their free, Luis Arraez, those are 3 guys. At least 2 of whom, I don't know about Luis, but at least 2 of whom you can almost guaranteed give the qualifying offer to.
Yeah.
And those guys are going to go to market.
Yeah.
And if it does so happen that you lose both of those players at the end of the year, well, guess what? You're getting back that draft pick you just gave up plus another one. You're going to wind up +1 in the overall, and you're going to have Pavetta to pitch in 2026.
Yeah.
So I really... I've kind of felt like last night I was looking at every angle of this, And it just felt like facets of a diamond to me. Not that I don't think Nick Pavetta is going to win the Cy Young. I don't know how he's going to pitch this year. Maybe he'll walk off the mound his third start. We have no idea. No one knows. The future's not promised to anybody. But as a theoretical move, as a logical move, as a move of commitment from new ownership to their fan base, the Padres now have like the third highest percentage increase in payroll in all of Major League Baseball this year. That's crazy. And before it was like, yeah, well, those are all the built-in raises, but not anymore. Now you're seeing pieces being added on top of that that we had previously been told in previous reporting, nope, no scenario, can't be done. Every dollar in's a dollar out, you know? And instead it's like, nope, come up with creative contracts for this year. And we don't care about the CBT. We'll go over the CBT. It's all we've ever asked of this ownership, and they are delivering it to the Padres fans going into 2025. We're here to win. Padres are here to win. And I've heard a whole lot for months about how that wasn't the case. And they're proving it.
And Nick Pavetta is definitely, like we talked about, is an addition. I mean, it's a guy, like we talked about, a high strikeout, guy that can give you innings. There's room for improvement. He said last year that he's not even, he's just hitting a stride, that he's growing as a pitcher. So this is a great one for Niebla to connect with. And Niebla has a way of getting guys who are like C's up to like B pluses or A minuses, So, and he's not a C. Nick Pavetta is better than that. He's like, what B plus and A minus pitcher already.
Yeah.
So you're just going to get the most out of him. And so I think it's really good for the Padres. I mean, it seems like it's going to be allowing this rotation to really feel comfortable in turning that ball over day after day.
Yeah. And a final note, because I'm seeing it very accurately noted that the CB, and he said it earlier too, the CBT is actually calculated at the end of the baseball year, not at the middle of the baseball year or the start. So is there optionality here? There is. I mean, there's a lot of guys on last year contracts on the San Diego Padres. So you go in guns a-blazing for 2025. If it works out, this is a playoff team. Yeah. This is a team that can fight for a World Series. If for some reason, injuries, bad luck, poor performance conspire to make this team not in a winning position at midseason, AJ might have the most assets he's ever had in his career to try and move for a short-term turnaround to restock for 2026. So I like our position now. I feel like we're so much better positioned because we can go in just trying to win straight up, play the season straight up. But if you do get to midseason and it's not where you want it, you do have that optionality.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a big loss for them if it's not where they want it. With the guys, get the ages that they are, and you're kind of still solidifying that 1 year good, 1 year not good, 1 year in playoffs, 1 year not in playoffs. I think it's important for them to make the playoffs this year.
Oh, and I think they're trying hard. They're here to win. That's why I'm so excited today. Got an LFGSD t-shirt like back at Christmas. I hadn't felt comfortable wearing it until today. Let's go San Diego. Padres Deep Dive Hour is next. It's Padres Deep Dive Hour time. Let's go. Annie and Elsten, hour number 2 of the program. 11 on a gloomy Thursday, but sunshiny thoughts in here. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan, presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com. Get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. Annie Halvin, Craig Elsten, and Braden Suprenant with you going till 2 o'clock. We come to you live on 97.3 FM radio. Welcome to everyone listening on your car or some other radio device. We come to you on the Odyssey app, streaming worldwide. Don't forget, stay there for an hour, log in, and listen in order to get your daily entry into the Slam Dunk in Vegas contest, where you could get a trip for you and 3 friends to Circa to watch the first 2 rounds of that big old basketball tournament at Stadium Swim and get $5,000 each. Please check it out by going to the Odyssey app, just downloading it and listening for an hour. We're also a podcast. Hello to everybody on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on all your podcatchers. 5-star review, please. Thank you so much. Hello to everyone on YouTube. Have you hit the like button yet? We're enjoying the show. Hope you are too. If so, please give us the old thumbs up. Give us the like. Subscribe to the show if you haven't. 97.3 The Fan on YouTube is where you can find us.
Had a March Madness level finish last night in Fort Worth.
Yeah?
Did you see it?
No.
TC was down 2. They were down 2 with 3 seconds left. Throw one of those cross-court inbound passes.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State guy tips it. Falls right to the TCU player, who hasn't made a 3-pointer in 7 games. Puts up a 3.
Swish.
Bang.
Gotta love it.
Frogs win.
Gotta love it. Let's go Frogs.
What a mid-off that was on CBS Sports Network. TCU and Oklahoma State. Oh man, that was rough. But you know what? The Frogs won, so it's all matters. March is got to be here sooner. March.
Coming soon.
Speaking of March, and I know we're going to get to this baseball tonight thing. Did you guys see Carl Ravitch on Twitter yesterday?
No.
Oh my God.
What now?
Oh my God. Do you know what he said on that? So he does during the non-baseball season, he does college basketball for the SEC.
Okay, all right.
And in one of the games, I think he was talking about Alabama and Auburn this weekend. Alabama and Auburn is number one versus number 2 in the country this weekend. And he was doing one of the games on Tuesday. I think it was either the Auburn game or the Alabama game, whatever it was. And he said, well, there's not really a lot of teams pulling away in the SEC because the overall conference record of the entire SEC is 82-82.
Well, because they're playing each other, and one team wins and one team loses.
Got eviscerated on social media for it. And then he tries to, defend himself after he landed back in Bristol or wherever he lives on social media. He had 3 tweets about his mistake that he made on the 82 and 82. I couldn't believe it. He goes, just landed and see X is on fire. Simple explanation. Tongue-in-cheek 82-82 record was to illustrate any night either team can win and one will. Clearly very poor execution on my part. Yeah. It is amazing that Alabama and Auburn have only lost once since in such a great conference. That's all. Wasn't good enough for him. 4 hours later, he goes, 4 hours after landing and reading all the responses, it is overwhelming. I will heed the advice of my ex-friends and take the, quote, L. My bad, my mistake. Always appreciate the feedback and grateful for the audience. A bunch of huge games left. Let's enjoy them.
In other words, get off my back, please.
You know what it is?
Just tired of this.
If you make the mistake, don't acknowledge it. Don't continue to acknowledge it. The 82 and 82. I thought originally when I saw that, I thought it was because Alabama and Auburn were 82 and 82 against each other in the last 164 games, whatever it is, 162 games, 164 games, whatever it is. And I was like, my buddy was like, no, he said the SEC against each other is 82 and 82. Some dude posted in a graphic all of the conference records in college basketball, and they're all 500 all the way across the board on the tweet. Poor Carl Ravitch. It happens to the best of us, and as I told Scraby on air on Monday or Tuesday, I said, do not do math on air. It never works out.
It never works out.
Beautiful. Well, I appreciate that Carl Ravitch has a picture of an old pug as his profile pic. So
There you go.
Now
that's great.
Now I'm more of a fan.
Yeah.
You got an old plug at home? All right, cool. Good on you, man.
I mean, he
for
wore
Sammy.
it. He wore the L.
He
He
had
didn't
wear
need to
the
tweet
L at
about
that
it,
point.
but he wore the
Yeah,
L.
I mean, you don't ever need to tweet ever.
I agree.
You just literally don't, and there's nothing positive gained at any time. Every once in a while, it's neutral, and all the rest of the time, it hurts. Baseball Deep Dive Hour. However, you can pick up videos off Twitter. That's something you can do. Here's one, Baseball Tonight style. Hembo, I forget.
I don't know who this is.
I don't know
He's
who
there.
this is
I
either.
know Buster, obviously.
Hembo
but-
is, I've listened to the Baseball Tonight podcast a number of times. This is their super duper stats guy. He's the guy in ESPN Stats and Research that is creating all of the advanced information that is given
Okay.
to the analysts.
Okay.
You know, when they go on Baseball Tonight or when they go on
doing a
whatever.
deep dive.
And so on Buster Olney's podcast, Hembo has a semi-regular segment where he'll come in with statistical information.
And this was posted a few hours before Nick Pavetta was signed.
Correct.
It was like they were looking at Nick Pavetta, like who's going to take Nick Pavetta?
Yeah, it was a who's the next best. I think the
Pitcher.
actual question is like, who's the most interesting person remaining on
yeah.
the market? And let's hear what he had to say. I think this should be exciting for Padres fans.
Yes.
Who's the best value on the board among remaining free
you
agents?
Nick Pavetta. Nick Pavetta is the best value on the board among remaining free agents, Buster. He returned as a full-time starter last year and intrigues me a lot on a 2 or 3 year deal. You might ask why a pitcher with a ERA north of 4 would intrigue me so much, so I wrote down a few numbers. He ranked last year among those to start 20 games in the 83rd percentile in base runner avoidance, the 84th percentile in walk avoidance, and the 92nd percentile in strikeout rate. So those are some positive underlying numbers. It is also a four-seam fastball that ranked at the very top of the league in active spin, 97%. But he only threw it 49% of the time. That was a career low. As you well know, that didn't exactly jive with the Red Sox pitching philosophy. I think that pitch will flourish more somewhere else. And the last thing I wrote down, Buster, is we can get him to improve against righties. We can get him to improve with a platoon advantage. Lefties last year had a 610 OPS against him. Righties had an 814 OPS against him. A 204 point reverse OPS split. Very bizarre. He allowed 17 homers to righties. 10 of those were on a fairly sloppy sweeper that he threw an awful lot. We're going to either get rid of that pitch or we're going to reduce it. After peeling the onion back a couple layers, Buster, I'm awfully intrigued about Nick Pavetta's free agency.
Yeah, and I think probably the reason why he's still sitting out there is because the Red Sox gave him a qualifying offer. He's tied to draft pick compensation, and along those lines, to me, he would be a great fit for the New York Mets.
Not too
So
bad.
I think Jeremy Hefner, their pitching coach, is excellent with working
Well,
with
we got
guys.
Niebla, so that's cool.
Yeah. And you know, you hear, what's his name, Hembo?
Yeah.
Okay, you hear him talk about there's room for improvement, and I think that's important. And there's stuff that he can improve on, but like we talked about, maybe a change of park, plus Niebla, plus him understanding what he needs to do in terms of his pitch mix and everything, and his splits and all that. I think that he could be a really promising addition in terms of just gaining more success. You know, like you hear him there. I mean, he's got the potential. Now you got to see it realized a little bit more.
Yes, but when you hear, oh, here's a pitch that he has really struggled with,
Yeah.
and it's the sweeper. Ruben Niebla is king sweeper.
Right.
Like, this guy has both introduced and refined sweepers for a number of different San Diego Padres pitchers that has worked out excellently. I can't stop coming back to Seth Lugo, who had similar, by the way, not for nothing. 2022, the year before the San Diego Padres got Seth Lugo, when he was a New York Met. I'm just looking this up right now. But his splits were very Pavetta-esque.
Yeah.
He was killing lefties, and he was getting killed by righties because he had a certain mix that wasn't working. His breaking ball going one way was working great, but the breaking ball going the other way wasn't being effective enough, and so right-handers were able to sit on it. Well, tell you what, by the very next season, his numbers completely evened out and even were a little bit the other direction. And then last year, same thing. So Niebla comes in, couple moves, little tweak. Hey, we want this pitch to run to the left. We want this pitch to go to the right. You need something that's going to go each way. Look how King does it as well. Same thing.
Yeah.
You refine that pitch mix a little bit. All of a sudden, you've got a guy that's got the material to be a 3.5, 3.4 ERA starter, pitching to a 4.1, 4.2 in Boston. You give him a bigger outfield, you give him a better defense behind him, and you refine the pitch that he's getting torched on the most. Whoo-wee.
Yeah. I agree with all that, and Ruben Niebla has shown that in terms of what you just talked about with Seth Lugo, got the most out of Michael Wacha. We saw what he's done with Michael King. So there's no doubt that it should be a good fit.
Here's another thing I was thinking about last night. The Padres made a really important choice in terms of their allocation of resources, because Nick Pavetta, when you look at his average annual value on his contract, the one that goes to the CBT, it's $13.75, $13,750,000. What did Jurickson Profar get? $14 million. $14 million average annual value with the Atlanta Braves. The Padres almost undoubtedly, at some point in the last month, had these two deals on a board. You know, which way do we want to go? Do we want to go Profar? There's a lot of advantages to going Jurickson Profar. There's a lot of things to love about going Jurickson Profar. Or put that money in the rotation, get a fourth starter for this team that's reliable, that can pitch like a 3, regain that depth that you would have had if Joe Musgrove was healthy, and see where you can roll with that and go pick up a $1 million platoon in left instead. And that's the direction AJ decided to go. Find the $1 million platoon, put the money into pitching.
Yeah, and I saw that kind of floating around yesterday too, and it's valid. It's valid to wonder. We heard AJ Preller talk about how Kyle Higashioka for $6 million a year for 2 years, so it was $12 million, I think, for him, right? How that was essentially out of their price range. And I think when you look back on that, it was out of the price range for what Preller wanted to spend for a catcher, maybe. I mean, that's the only way I can kind of make these two thoughts work, is unless he was just given the directive recently that he can go over the CBT and spend a little bit more and make a bigger contract. He's got to still, if there still are financial constraints, which Mike Shildt alluded to this morning that there are, you've got to decide what area is most important. What area can we get the most bang for our buck? And in their decision, they decided it was going to be the rotation over bringing Jurickson Profar back on in left field.
Let's hear, can we get a little AJ in? Oh, wait, hang on. It's 11:13. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll hear from AJ Preller. Also, on this topic of it's not just signing with the Padres, it's signing with the Padres and Ruben Niebla and the Performance Lab, and what that means to pitchers that are out in the wild looking to find a place to come home. Wait till you hear the comments that Kyle Hart had to say this morning, because that's why he's here. He's here for Ruben Niebla. He's here for the Padres pitching lab and what they think it can do to revamp his career. So all of that still to come. Padres Deep Dive Hour. Stay right there. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, last night was one of the busiest basketball nights of the year. All 30 NBA teams in action. Underdog absolutely hopping. One of the leading sports apps that you can now play here in California. If you want to win up to 1,000 times your money, you can using Underdog. All you have to do is play daily fantasy sports, pick between 2 and 8 players on at least 2 different teams, choosing whether a player is going to go higher or lower on one of their stats. They've got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from, and you can have an entry as little as $1 or, of course, more. I was riding on a 2-player entry yesterday. One was locked up. All I needed was a 5th Anthony Edwards three-pointer. He was sitting on 4. Time running down. Buzzer beater, step back 3. Off the rim. No, you can't win them all. But it was a lot of fun to try and battle along. Download the Underdog app and sign up now using the promo code Craig, C-R-A-I-G, to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun. Sign up with promo code Craig. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona and Massachusetts, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. You know what? Let's give away something right now. As a big thank you to all you Padres fans who have patiently waited for the team to do something super exciting and fun, and then they did it. Picked up I mean, I guess my definition of super exciting and fun could differ from yours, but picking up a mid-rotation starter is super exciting and fun to me. Spending over the first threshold of the CBT is super exciting and fun to me, and indicative of everything I'm asking for and wanting as a media member and as a fan of the San Diego Padres. So super psyched today. So let's give away a pair of tickets to see the San Diego State Aztecs play Saturday night, taking on Boise State. You can get tickets at goaztecs.com. Good luck. It's going to be a sold-out game. You can get a pair of tickets right now. Be the first person to call at 833-288-0973 and answer this. What left-handed pitcher did the Padres sign today? We haven't really talked about him a lot, so at least it gives you half a chance.
Yep. Probably go find it on the socials or on the news sites if you missed it.
Might not be enough time, though, if you do that.
That's true.
Because it's first person in. So Braden will take care of that, and then Braden, let me know when you're done, and then we'll get to playing some sound here in this segment as well. We're going to hear from A.J. Preller regarding everything in his own A.J. way. We've got some prompts in here, including if recent additions could impact whether or not Cease will be traded. Would you like me to just do that for you before we play the sound?
Wait, who's answering that?
AJ.
Oh, yes, let's do that. I'm sure it starts with, no.
Yeah, no. Well, we're always going to look for opportunities to improve the team. And we have conversations with clubs about every player all the time. And if something lines up with something we're wanting to do, then we'll definitely look at that. But, one good thing about our organization is we have players that people want. And so there's conversations, and we'll have those conversations all the time.
Excellent. Not unlike what I thought it would be. Yes.
We got to play that one first once Braden's done, just to see how close
how close you are. Yeah, I have a feeling you're pretty close. He's in on everyone. Always answering the phone. Conversations. Never say never.
Never say never. Never. Yeah. Always going to have. And somewhere in there, he's going to say something, not in that quote, but in another quote about the next couple of weeks, because that's his favorite thing. Like in December, he goes, "Well, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking for someone in the rotation." That winds up being, February 12th, but nonetheless, it's the next couple of weeks.
It would be nice. I know AJ has to do his job in terms of keeping the lines of communication open, because if someone makes an offer you can't refuse, or maybe you didn't plan on trading Dylan Cease, maybe you decided we've got Nick Pavetta, we're good, we made that creative deal. It definitely was a creative deal on the part of Preller and his lieutenants. So we can hold on, but then you get a call and it's like you can't turn it down.
Right.
But it would be nice, and I don't know, maybe AJ will say this, if you're to kind of hear, hey, if you're Dylan Cease, hey, we've got our guys, we're not planning on making any more moves. You kind of leave the door open, and if you're Dylan Cease, you hear that, and you're like, okay, I guess there's still a chance I can be traded.
Well, who won the tickets, Braden?
Paul and Ramona.
Congratulations, Paul and Ramona, knowing that Kyle Hart was the name of the left-hander that they signed 1 year, $1.5 million earlier today. But we were just chatting about it while you were screening Paul there. Can we play first on if recent additions could impact whether or not Cease will be traded? Because I did a cosplay, and we want to hear how close I came.
All right. Let's see what we got here.
No, not Kevin Hart. No, Kyle Hart's much taller. He's like he's like 6'4", 6'5".
Much taller than Kevin Hart.
Significantly so. Here comes AJ.
Well, I hope so. That's...
Oh, look, Barry Bloom's there. Here comes AJ.
There's been a lot of interest and speculation around Cease. I know you mentioned like in the top three rotation. Now that you added some depth to the rotation, where do you stand with Dylan in terms of where you expect him to be on opening day?
Yeah, I mean it's a similar spot. Like again, like our I think we look at our rotation. Obviously Dylan, King, and Darvish. Dylan got Cy Young votes last year. He's probably been as consistent as any pitcher in the game. His ability to take the ball, like in that first series, is very important. And again, like I think we're always a team that with any player, you always gotta listen. A lot of teams this offseason have interest in a lot of our players. I think some of the speculation again, like has been not accurate that's out there about different possibilities. But from our standpoint, we've to have a guy like Dylan that's he's one of the best pitchers in the league. It's 200 innings every year. He's got the ability to dominate. Throws a no-hitter last year. That's a very big part of our club, and I think, the additions the last couple of days is to supplement what's a really good rotation. I think that's our focus here going forward is having that strong rotation. That's what you need to pitch, and having Dylan be a big part of that.
Okay, a little more directly than I gave him credit for.
You're pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I forgot to fill the first part of it with bio stuff. Like, well, we've got Cease, we've got Darvish, we've got King, Dylan Cease, he's a great pitcher. Like, I should have remembered that part.
But you heard him take a little sentence there about how some of the speculation hasn't been correct or whatever. So let's just assume Dylan Cease is staying. Why speculate that he's going anywhere?
I agree.
Right? I mean, at this point, I think he's staying.
I think so too, especially with the contract that they have reportedly given Pavetta. He's not officially signed yet.
Right.
Correct. Honestly, I think it would be super weird to trade Dylan Cease before opening day now. Now that you're going great guns. I talked about this on Hot Tub last night because we had speculated that there would be a Cease trade and a Pavetta signing. And you wouldn't do one without the other. You'd have them both lined up so that you could announce the trade and then you could announce the signing. I don't see it in reverse. I don't see them signing Pavetta first, giving you the 4-person strong rotation, giving the fans hope, and then trading Cease on the back end.
Yeah.
And if they had done that, they would have done it immediately. Like, it would have been Pavetta signed, Cease traded. Instant.
Yeah, and if you look at their whichever payroll you're going with, but if you look at their UT payroll, they still have a little room to make a few more $1 million signings,
right? And
get some other guys in, or make it one more, maybe few million, one more player worth $2 or $3 million. And on the CBT, if you're going to go over, you might as well go right up to that number, like you said. So you could probably bring another guy on. I don't know that they won't trade anyone, but at this point, I'm like, let's just think that they're rolling with what they got.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe Suarez. Maybe Suarez. But it's going to be – the beautiful thing is once you've spent and put yourself in the position where you've got a team, and this is what I think we just heard AJ said, we want our team to be built on a strong rotation. Mm-hmm. Cease is a part of a strong rotation, right? So once you've built the team, now AJ can sit back and hold on his value line, which is the other team has to overpay if you want to get anything off our team. Mm-hmm. He's not forced to trade Robert Suarez and then he trades him for a single A prospect or something. Like, he has the ability to hold the line, get the price he wants, so that you feel comfortable if he does make a trade like that, it's going to benefit the club in the long run.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He had a high value as it is. And exactly, like, you would think, okay, if you want to trade someone and you've got a high value, eventually you might say, okay, instead of needing this guy, I'll take this one off the board and I'll only stick with the 2 instead of the 3 or whatever. AJ wasn't going to do that. Like, that's kind of how he operates, is if you give him what he's looking for, he'll consider it, but he usually doesn't drop a ton of value in order to get someone.
How about, before we break, how about AJ on how close the starting rotation is to being finalized?
Pending a Nick Pavetta
deal.
Right.
That makes sense.
He's not officially...
Yeah, so he can't actually say the name Nick Pavetta in this soundbite because it's not official.
That's right.
Not official yet. You're still working on it. But yeah, this is how close are they to finalizing it?
Speaking of how close are they, Barry, could you take a step back, brother?
If that were to be the case, how close would you be to this being a finalized group, finalized roster that you feel like you can move forward with? Obviously, knowing everything's fluid, but just this group of guys being somewhat complete. How close is that?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever really final. I mean, I think we saw that last year with, we got to the end of spring training and made a trade, and we got to the beginning part of the season and made another deal with Luis Arraez. But I think in terms of the pitching side, there's still good pitchers that are out there. So I mean, I think at the end of the day, we still having active conversations with with different guys that are on the market to different levels, some non-roster type possibilities, still some guys that we would have some big league consideration to. But I think again, if we are able to finalize a couple things in the next day, I think it gives us a chance to go into the year. Cease, King, Darvish is a great place to start. Adding that with another major league arm or two that we feel really good about. And now all of a sudden, the competition that you have with Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito, Matt Waldron, those guys were a big part of us getting to the playoffs last year. As guys that came in and supplemented a staff, I think big part of the conversation we've had is, can we get those guys to where they're real major league starters that look up and can take 28, 30, 32 starts this year. So I think the combination of what we have in camp right now, the lead group with Darvish, King, Cease, adding to that a little bit, and then developing some of the guys that we currently have on our roster and still looking outside to see if there's another guy or two that makes some sense. I think that gives us a nice group of starters, nice group of pitchers for Ruben and Shildt to work with. Gives us a chance to have a really competitive group this year.
I agree.
Great.
I love where we are now.
AJ looks good. Looks like he's got some color in his face. Blue eyes are sparkling.
Regained some sleep after the whole Sasaki nightmare.
Yes, caught up on some sleep.
It looks like he's, he's feeling good. So that's good to see.
It's spring training for everybody,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
it's fresh.
Looking sharp, looking sharp. Okay, let's take a timeout. When we come back, more from AJ Preller. More from AJ Preller, including if the changing control person has added clarity to his situation. I'm curious how he'll answer that.
Too.
I suspect it'll be political, but I think he'll probably dance it pretty well. Then Kyle Hart, new left-hander, knocked around the minor leagues, totally unconvincing performance, had to go across the sea, had to go to Korea to find himself, wins the Korean Cy Young Award. Now he's back. He's back in the big leagues, and he's back because of Ruben Niebla. We're going to hear that sound when we come back. It's the Padres Deep Dive Hour on Annie and Elsten, coming your way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed on 97.3 The Fan. So while you're listening, you can see what you missed and click to listen on demand. If you missed a guest or a feature, some crazy thing that happened earlier, we got you covered. Download the free Odyssey app, search 97.3 The Fan, and tap earlier today, and you will be there. You'll be doing it. Okay, Annie and Elsten back with you. Padres Deep Dive Hour. Nick Pavetta is a Padre. They haven't announced it officially yet, but it's going to happen. He gets 2 years, $23 million. He's got opt-outs at the end of 26 and the end of 27. One interesting thing about this contract, and of course there's multiple interesting things.
Yeah.
The first one is that he's getting paid $1 million this year. The second is that he gets a lot more next year, $19 million.
Yeah.
And the third is that then the player opt-outs kick in, but the third year is a $5 million pay cut. It's down to 14. Then if he stayed for a fourth year, it would be back up to 18. But that 14, what that is, that's the end of the contract.
That's enticing him to go out, unless he's not pitching well.
Bingo.
If he's not pitching well, he's going to hang on, and he, any player would,
Right.
and go ahead and get those final 2 years of money from the Padres, and maybe, hopefully, I think he would still try to improve and be a better pitcher. But that's what you're looking at. If he has had success, he's going to go back out to the market. Although it is kind of interesting, that will be the offseason of the CBA. Won't
Yes, it will. Yes,
yeah,
it will.
so I really don't know what players are going to feel or do in terms of whether they're going to trust the free agent market or they're going to trust teams to make big signings or what. But it's good for Nick Pavetta and it's good for the Padres if he has success.
Exactly. It's designed like the Waka, Nick Martinez, Seth Lugo contracts. We're going to get value out of you here, but you're going to build your market value to the point that it's going to go over the amount we'd commit to you in the deal.
Yeah.
Then you're going to leave. You're going to go ahead and opt out, and that's going to be good on you. But if you do happen to get hurt, then you've got these opt-ins, and it's going to be a savings for the Padres too.
Yeah.
So both sides get at least a little bit of something if we do extend into that third year. But the sunshine road is Nick Pavetta kills it. Niebla teaches him a new, angle on his sweeper or whatever. Dude has 2 great years, and then he goes out to market.
Yeah.
And we move on, and we pick the next guy off the branch and keep this cycle going, because this is now a good run of about 3 years where we've played this game and it's worked out.
Yeah, exactly. So these 2 years are guaranteed for both sides, and then the next 2 years are really going to be up to Nick Pavetta.
And yes, there was a $3 million signing bonus for Nick Pavetta as well. So the actual, it's 4 for this year, but what he gets paid in terms of his paycheck is $1 million, which is wild.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I'm sure when Nick Pavetta gets to camp and when the signing becomes official, as we've been told, that's going to be a question to him is about the creativity of that contract, because he had to agree to. This was a guy who was presented with the opportunity to make $21 million this year by the Red Sox. He turned it down, and he's making $1 million. Now, he, like any player, he's made money in his career. I'm sure he looks at the big picture and says, wait, but I can make 55 if I stay, whatever.
Right.
But it really still, it comes out to, if you look at only those first 2 years, $12.5 million, right?
Yeah, 23 total.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. Yeah.
Flaherty was 35.
Look how many teams are doing these deals now. The Red Sox did it yesterday with Bregman.
Yeah.
They gave him a bunch of deferred money, even though they loaded up with only 3 years. He decided to take less money, I guess more AAV, to play for the Red Sox than to go to Detroit, which I don't know why you'd want to go to Detroit. But
and he has opt-outs.
And he's got opt-outs, but again, another one of those contracts that they're throwing out deferred money payments, and the Padres are finding ways to finagle. Everybody's starting to finagle the luxury tax, and
That's right.
the Dodgers started it, right, because they had the luxury to do that, and now with everybody else doing it, I wonder how much Major League Baseball goes, maybe we should adjust this since everybody is exploiting the luxury tax.
I think that's dead on.
It'll be a topic for the CBA.
Yeah,
for
this
sure.
is our version.
Yeah.
This is our version. Is to this, that, reverse risk contracts. AJ's been handing out reverse risk contracts for 4 years now. So
Nick, where do you live? Oh, great. No state income tax. Here's more money in
Yeah.
signing bonuses.
Oh, what do you know? Florida?
Oh, nice. Arizona.
The Florida-Arizona intramural winter teams are just
Washington.
stocked with Major League aces
Yeah.
rolling out to get some work in.
Nick, do you want to live on a ranch in Texas by any chance? You want to move there? Go ahead, establish your residency, and then we could give you the money.
Let's hear a little bit more from AJ chatting this morning to the local press and to Barry Bloom. Very
much looks
close.
like it's just a very Barry Bloom.
Yeah, Barry Bloom just right there on his cheek. If you can smell the garlic from the morning eggs, it's probably a bad sign.
Smell the garlic from the evening pasta.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's go. Let's go with on having a new control person approved. Has it given AJ any clarity about his operation? I doubt he's going to answer this straight, but it is an interesting question because we've got a signing now that we didn't have a week ago. So let's hear that one.
You have a new control person soon, I guess. He's been approved. How much has that provided any clarity with the plan going forward as far as budget or anything like that?
Yeah, it's been. I mean, again, like it's been very similar in terms of like the whole. I mean, everything in terms of like nothing has really changed over the last year in terms of since Peter's passing. Like myself, I report to Eric Kutsenda. I think that's still in place here for the next 30 days, and then. In terms of like how we've gone about things over the last season and really this off season in terms of my responsibilities, the communication, talking about our team, our roster, the possibilities that are out there. There's been no real differences here over the last year and nothing really over the last off season. Again, I've had different setups over the 11 years I've been here, from that control person setup and. Again, like the biggest thing is we've always had people that want to win and want to go win a World Series and do it for the fans of San Diego. That's what I enjoy working for and don't see any changes there.
Do you know John very well?
I've talked to John a few times. He's seen him a few different times at different events, etc. But looking forward to really spending more time and going from there with it. So.
Well, that's a no.
Yeah.
Preller DGAF, okay? He's just, Preller's in his own, him and baseball
Again,
ops,
yeah.
as they should be. They are in their own world, and they're given a number to work with, and they just go out and they do their thing. So
That was funny. That was actually quite funny. Do you know John? You have a good relationship?
Met him a couple times.
Met him a couple times.
Met him a couple times.
look forward to sitting down with him soon.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Hey, I don't care if you never met him. He approved this signing.
You could see the moment where on the video he probably should have said something different. He was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting it over a little bit more. He kind of pauses for a second when he really wanted to say, not really. I don't really know him that
Right.
No,
well.
it's a tough situation for them. It really is. It's a tough situation because a lot of them know Shildt. A lot of them know Peter. You want to respect the brothers. You probably want to respect Shildt as well. And I think it's just a tough situation for the players and the coaching staff.
100%.
Couldn't agree more. Let's hear about if he has had discussions with Luis Arraez about a contract extension. Again, I can't imagine a direct answer to this, but I'll be very curious if he has one, because...
Yeah, we're almost done with the deal.
Yeah, right. We've actually been talking for the last 2 weeks. Funny you ask.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
That's what you're gonna say.
Just once.
Yeah, that'd be
once.
actually
Just
hilarious.
once.
And then he just goes, LOL, JK.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got?
Have you guys have any talks with Arraez about extending him out at all?
Yeah, I don't really want to get into, it's just as policy, like get into like anybody's personal situation and their contract situation. I think Luis knows we value him a ton. We obviously made a big trade for him. I don't know if this is true, but Shildt said in one of our kickoff meetings yesterday that when we got Luis, after the time we got Luis, we were the best team in baseball. But he knows what we think about him. He knows we'd love to have him here, and leave it at that.
From my discussions with him, he wants to stay here too.
Yeah, he's always telling me that. So I think at the end of the day, we obviously, Danny Lozano, we've done some other deals with his group and his players. It's always a good thing when you have an organization that that appreciates and really understands what a player's value is and a player that wants to be here. But like anything, we'll kind of see how it plays out and go from there.
Okay.
I'm sorry. What else can you say?
Yeah.
You don't know if you're signing. You're.
Good times.
Anybody
Yeah.
surprised if that's the question that Barry asked?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, there's
Nah,
just
not
nothing
surprised.
Preller can really
Not
give
at
in
all.
that moment, right?
Not at all. But I did enjoy. He'd like to stay here. He goes, yeah, he's been telling me that.
Yeah.
Tells me that a lot.
I'm sure he's got a number that he'd like to stay here at. I'm sure I've heard it more than once.
I'll just say again, there's a lot of money coming off the books next
Yeah.
year. There's some
There is.
optionality. Finally, the Hosmer $13 million comes off, and I'm not saying you can just give that to Arraez. I had previously said give that to King, and see if you can do an extension there. I think that's your first priority, but it sure would be cool if the Padres could keep Luis Arraez around for a little while. Do we need to play AJ on what it will take to win the NL West? I mean, to beat the Dodgers is the answer.
Well, I'm curious what the general manager has to say when everybody says it's just an impossible task.
we're
He
gonna
gets
play the
paid
best
to
we
try to
can.
win
All right, let's hear it.
divisions.
All
Let's
right.
see what he's
All
got to
right.
say.
All right.
It's good to go on record.
Yeah, this is what AJ thinks.
What's it going to take to win the NL West?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, obviously, we got to have a lot of guys step up. I think starts with, on the position player side, we've got, multiple players that could be an MVP consideration, and having those guys play to the best of their ability. I'm talking about Tatis and, Machado and, Xander and Jackson to lead it. And, with guys like Arraez hopefully winning another batting title, you're looking at a starting pitching group that, has a chance to, you look up, and if we have multiple guys that are in that Cy Young consideration individually, strong bullpen, health is always a big part of it. We've seen that at different points in the last 4 or 5 years. And then a continuation of what we saw last year. I think with Shildt, the coaching staff, very detail-oriented, the little things that go to winning baseball games that are not seen by a lot of people that we got really good at. And we've done well at different points over the last 5 years, but we got very good at last year. And, a group that just enjoys being together. It's a real thing. It's hard to quantify that or put a number on that, but players that like competing with each other, like being around each other. I think all those things, like having some elite talent and players that go out and perform well, and then, having some attention to detail and doing it a little bit better than some other groups. And then just having some players that enjoy competing and doing it for the fans of San Diego, and, taking advantage of an unbelievable atmosphere that we have at Petco. I think you look up at all those things. If a lot of those are a lot of those boxes are yeses and checked, I think we're going to have a very successful year and a team that can win a division title.
All right. Yeah. If all of our superstars play like MVPs and all of our top starters pitch like Cy Young Award winners and we stay healthy.
I think the part that was the most important was the guys that enjoy playing with each other. There's a lot of talented teams that don't like playing with each
That's
other
true.
that suck.
And Joe, gosh, I think Joe Musgrove was on with Gwen, Tony, and Scraby at FanFest and said something to the effect of nobody understands how close this group was last year. Nobody understands how absolutely tight that clubhouse was last year. So maybe exactly that. You've got a situation where guys are just, happy to be there and be around one another.
I've been a part of teams that are very talented that don't like playing with each other that suck. I've been
sure.
part
You
of
don't
teams
need
that
it.
aren't nearly as
Exactly.
talented that will pull the rope in the right direction and are selfless and they go a little bit further. And that's not to say that always works. I mean, there's also teams that I've been a part of that are really talented that hate each other and win.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
100%.
it's all over the place. But I do think that's a different factor. I mean, as much as we want to say, on paper, and it is on paper, everybody knows the Dodgers are the favorite on paper. I mean, they could have a lot of guys that don't gel. And all of a sudden they have a nightmare on their hands that they weren't expecting, like you've seen with a lot of teams that become these super teams.
Yeah, or guys maybe that don't like platooning. They want to be in the
Right.
lineup every day. They want to have more of a structured role. That can happen in clubhouses too, where you have the influx of those guys. Just some quick Shildt notes. So he says he thinks it's likely it's a 5-man rotation. They've got an influx of those Thursdays off.
Yeah.
So they can kind of use that to help spread out some starts. They autopsied the end of the season. They tipped their hat to the Dodgers. Quote, they were able to, with their backs against the wall, able to perform. They executed with basically every pitch they threw for 2 straight games. That is an unusual thing to do, but they did it, and credit to them. To their credit, they didn't make any mistakes, and we couldn't put anything together. Okay.
The cap has been tipped. All right.
And then he kind of alludes to, and AJ Cassavell tweeted something along these lines that Arraez will be maybe the everyday first baseman. I think there were some thoughts that maybe they'd DH, platoon, something or other.
Maybe throw Joe in there a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like they'll have some opportunities to DH to get them off their feet, but looks like at least for now, Arraez and Cronenworth will have spots in the infield.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll hear everything that Mike has to say in the third hour when we
sorry
get to
about
the
that.
Daily Shildt.
Well, you're going to hear him say it, which is so much better than me saying it.
I tend to disagree. I think you probably distilled it a little bit better.
There's
agree
a
with Craig.
lot more that Shildt says that is worth listening to. We can learn a lot more in the about the players, like you said, the bios, the some of that. So I look forward to it.
Let's see. We got 3 minutes. We can play one of these Kyle Hart sounds. Let's play one. This is a veteran who has gone through the weeds and had to find his way to Korea, not to Japan, to Korea, and was dominant in Korea. And now the Padres have signed him on a one-year deal with a club option, which is interesting. If he does well, they can pick him up on a club option next year. Let's hear a little bit from Kyle Hart.
Can you tell us why this opportunity made the most sense for you and why you chose the Padres?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty clear as soon as I talked to AJ, Josh, Ruben. I think it was pretty clear where this team is at, and I felt like they wanted me, and that was something that I kind of set out at the beginning of free agency was let's kind of combine opportunity with a chance to win, a great clubhouse, a great culture, and I was putting those things first in my journey, and as soon as I started talking to those guys, it was clear that this was going to be the best fit for me.
What did last year do for you, and did it kind of work out to plan?
Yeah, that's one of the questions that they had for me was, what changed and what worked for you, and I think it was really just the blank canvas that I was given by the Dinos, just to kind of do my thing, be myself, and that's something I kind of latched onto. I felt like my last couple of years in the minor leagues, I didn't know kind of who I was, what my role was, and over there it was like, hey, you got 100 pitches, we need as many outs as you can get, and it was very simple. So I think I simplified things and just kind of found myself. Obviously, there was some pitch design stuff that I changed, some mechanic stuff that I changed, but most of all, it was just having a clean opportunity.
And I'm assuming you went over there with the idea of 1 year and then try to see what you could do?
That wasn't really on my mind going over there. I just wanted to pitch the best that I could, and whatever opportunities arose beyond that were, I was going to be happy with. And I think to kind of answer your question more clearly, like when I got into July and August, I realized, what the potential might be. And I think it was in the back of my mind, and you kind of keep shoving it down, like, hey, let's worry about that when it's time. So I did a good job of being in the present, especially with my teammates and my staff over there, just trying to pitch the best that I could for the Dinos, and that got me here.
Kyle Hart, we've got another clip from him, which I think is really interesting. We can play in the next hour, where he literally talks about the presentation Niebla made to him.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, and
I'd like
how
to hear
he
it.
was
Yeah.
like, whoa. And it really brought him over the line.
Yeah.
So the details on his deal, he gets 1 year, $1.5 million that will include some deferrals that drop the AAV.
Oh, really? I see
Yeah,
that.
but there's a $5 million club option for 2026. So he gets paid $1 million, and he either gets a $500,000 buyout or he gets the club option for $5 million. That's Kyle Hart. We're coming back with the 12 o'clock Sports Fix and more baseball next. Brought to you by the Craft Taco. Whether you're craving gourmet tacos for lunch or a craft beer for happy hour, the Craft Taco is the answer. Now open at the Natural History Museum in Balboa Park, as well as Sereno Valley. Happy Thursday, everybody. Halfway home on this edition of Annie and Elsten. Annie Heilbrunn, Craig Elsten, and Braden Soprennett in our Odyssey studios overlooking soggy Murphy Canyon, rolling for 2 more hours before Gwen and Chris check in. It's time for your 12 o'clock sports fix for Thursday, February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. All the news that you need to know from the sports world. We begin with Annie, baseball, and Padres news.
Yes, the Padres lead the sports fix.
Finally.
I know. It's a good day when that's happening. The Padres have signed starter Nick Pavetta to a 4-year, $55 million backloaded contract. He'll earn $4 million in 2025, $19 million in 2026, $14 million in 2027, and $18 million in 2028, though he does have player opt-outs in those final 2 years. Padres also forfeit a draft pick to the Red Sox in the deal as Pavetta turned down a qualifying offer from Boston back in November. The Padres also signed left-hander Kyle Hart, a former big leaguer who pitched in Korea last season and won the Korean version of the Cy Young Award, to a 1-year contract with a club option for 2026 on today. That's Thursday. The move gives San Diego further rotation depth. He gets 1 year at $1.5 million with a $5 million club option for next season. So all in all, the Padres have added 5 free agents for a total of $8.5 million in base salary and signing bonus, with Elias Diaz, Connor Joe, Jason Hayward, Nick Pavetta, and Kyle Hart. Alex Bregman has signed a 3-year, $120 million contract with 2 opt-outs. His deal with Boston includes deferred money, according to ESPN. The $40 million salary is $10 million plus more per year than any other teams were offering. And he goes to Boston. He's finally off the board. He was a big one that everybody was wondering where he was going to go. The Dodgers have officially announced Clayton Kershaw's re-signing. He gets a 1-year deal for $7.5 million plus bonuses. Kershaw said he's expecting to start the season on the 60-day IL after his off-season foot and knee surgeries, but he is hoping he'll be close to ready to return once eligible. Okay. About what you'd expect, yes.
Yeah.
Outfielder and old friend Jake Marisnick is in camp with the Braves as a non-roster invitee. Marisnick is 34 years old. In March, he signed a minor league deal with the Angels last winter, spent the year playing in AAA for that club, getting into just 54 games, around a few stints on the injured list.
I will forever remember Jake Marisnick for being the guy we picked up at the last deal of the 2021 deadline that put the Padres over the luxury tax. And that's the reason they were 4-time.
Was it Jake Marisnick?
It was Jake Marisnick. They would have reset and never hit any of them penalties in 22 and 23.
If not for Jake?
If they hadn't traded for Jake Marisnick in the last minute of the deadline.
And then that was the end of the Jake Marisnick era.
It was pretty much, yes.
Just didn't. Well,
So
okay.
long, Jake.
I didn't realize that. That's a good fun fact, or not so fun,
Wasn't
depending
really
on how
fun,
you look
though.
at
That's the only
it.
problem.
Exactly. The Reds officially announced reliever Scott Barlow's deal today, which breaks down as a $1.5 million salary, $1 million buyout on a $6.5 million club option for 2026. And finally, because the Pirates always seem to make the news somehow, they have hired Daniel Vogelbach as the special assistant to the hitting department. He played parts of 9 seasons in the majors. He hasn't officially retired, but seems to be moving over to the coaching side. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Vogelbach.
Yeah.
It's not back.
Danny
Vogelbach.
Burgers.
Yes.
Are we playing men's softball soon?
Yes. And that is it on the Major League Baseball side.
All right, over to Braden.
All right, I got some NFL news and then on to college basketball. For tomorrow, we had college baseball. Opening day for college baseball is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl victory was a boon for sports books in most states, but not in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania sports books lost a net $6.5 million on Super Bowl 59, according to figures released Thursday by the State Gaming Control Board. A record $101.5 million was bet on the Super Bowl with Pennsylvania sports books. That's a 20.4% increase over the previous high mark set in 2023 when the Eagles lost to the Chiefs in Super Bowl 57. Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board noted a high percentage of wagers placed on the Eagles to win this year, leading to the loss for the sportsbooks. Philadelphia defeated the Chiefs 40-22. In Pennsylvania, approximately 73% of bets placed, and 79% of the money wagered on the Super Bowl winner was the underdog Eagles at ESPN Bet, compared to less than 50% nationally at the sportsbook.
What a shocker.
At ESPN Bet in Kansas, the Eagles attracted only 18.7% of the bets on the winner. Pretends to be shocked.
Yes.
Yeah. You're saying Pennsylvanians backed their team?
And the entire state of Kansas picked KC? Was a surprise.
What do you know?
Even though they play in Missouri. But here we go.
Anyways.
Now it's official. The Aaron Rodgers era with the Jets is over.
It's done.
Nearly 2 years after
wow.
welcoming him with a large-scale news conference, the Jets say goodbye to Rodgers on Thursday with a news release that included statements of gratitude from team officials. The Jets
Thank you so much, Aaron, for
didn't give a reason for the
I
decision,
don't know
saying
why.
only they met last week with Rodgers and, quote, shared our intention was to move in a different direction at quarterback, Coach Aaron Glenn and General Manager Darren Mogi said in a joint statement. The funnier thing would be their social media pages on X. Jets 4 hours ago, we have informed Aaron Rodgers that we will be moving in a different direction at quarterback.
Oh, thanks.
Followed by another tweet with statements from Aaron Glenn, General Manager Darren Mogi, and statement from Chairman Woody Johnson in the second tweet 3 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then followed by another tweet, for everything you've given us the past 2 years, thank you, 8, with
Thank you, 8.
this emoji. And it's a pictures of Aaron Rodgers, and it says, thank you. Thank you for what exactly?
Just go get on the Pat McAfee show and call it a day.
Did you see that story that they met with him and said literally you can't stay on the Pat McAfee show?
No, oh God, I missed
Yeah, we
that.
talked about that
But
earlier in
now,
the week.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, early,
Sorry,
they met him and they were like, "Hey, if you want to stick around, you can't go on that
keep
guy's
going.
show anymore."
But now that he's not with the Jets,
Yeah, he'll
he
be
can
there
go
to-
on every
he'll
day.
be
do whatever he
right,
wants.
right.
Yeah.
They
He'll be there
basically
tomorrow.
gave him a list of things he would never agree to just
And
to convince
so
him to go away.
That was that.
Because
Okay.
they're like, we don't really want you back here.
In my mind, I'm going to hold an image of Aaron with a giant American flag running to the parking lot, just running away. He ran into the stadium, and now he's running out.
I don't know what they're thanking him for. What did he do? They didn't win any
Thanks,
games. I mean, he did. All he did was destroy the organization from
Everything
within.
you've done, thank you.
Thank you. As I would like to say, fulfill the prophecy.
Jets,
Send him to
Jets.
Minnesota. Send him to Minnesota. Although that would be kind of cruel to Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah,
but
don't-
it'd
don't
be
do that to
hilarious
KOC.
for
Yeah.
the prophecy of him just being in Brett Favre's footsteps.
Everywhere he goes.
Everywhere he goes. Everywhere he goes. College basketball for you. Play of the night last night, according to SportsCenter's top 10. You got to play it,
Okay,
obviously,
let's see it.
because of the Frogs.
Oh,
TCU down.
You told us. Yep.
Yeah,
Here we go.
here's the play.
All right, number one, you got to go all the way. The heave it, catch, and throw. That's Bashan
Oh, wow.
What a
Ahmed
shot.
drains it. With nothing left on the clock, the win there by 1. TCU gets it done.
What an battle of the mids last night that I watched the entire battle of. Oklahoma State and TCU. Game came down to the wire. TCU screwed up 3 times in the final minute of the game. Still had one last opportunity. The guy that hit the shot was 0 for his last 7 games from the 3-point
Wow.
line. Makes the 3. Frogs win.
A moment in infamy.
Yeah.
For him.
Super Frog was fired up. Good for them. Men's college basketball tonight. USD will be taking on Pepperdine up in Malibu. They're trying to snap an 12-game losing streak. The women's team is also trying to snap a 14-game losing streak tonight. They're playing... who are the women's team playing? I forget who they're playing, but they play Santa Clara on Saturday. They play Pacific tonight. So USD women's basketball team is at Pacific. USD's men's basketball team is at Pepperdine. Both of them trying to snap 12 and 14-game losing streaks. As for the Tritons,
The mighty Tritons.
in men's basketball, they'll be in Bakersfield tonight as a 12.5-point favorite, and they're trying to keep pace with Irvine as they share the top of the leaderboard. Irvine apparently has the tiebreaker for some odd reason, so they are the number 1 seed at this point in time. Being at the top, though, aside from raising a regular season championship banner, which you get a co-championship if you tie, you're in relatively the same spot for seeding purposes for the Big West tournament. But if you want to win it outright, Irvine's got Santa Barbara tonight at 8. Irvine's favored by 9.5 at the Brent Event Center. Tritons are favored by 12.5 in Bakersfield
Likely to win by 20 or more.
at the Accardo Center.
Tritons are rolling.
Uh-huh.
That game will be at 6:30 on ESPN+. The Irvine game will be at 8. So you can watch both, Craig. back-to-back.
Yes.
I always forget about 8 o'clock games, but maybe
I don't know,
will this time.
UCSD. We'll see
UCSD
if you
on-
watch this one. You
That's
remember
right.
it's at 8. Yeah.
That one's at 6:30.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I could
UCSD
roll
is at
into it.
6:30.
I could be so fired up on the
Right.
Baco win that I could then go turn it to Irvine and cheer against the Zots. And
Irvine's actually
maybe-
on TV. They're on ESPNU.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, fine.
So that's the college basketball update for you. I'll have a full college baseball report tomorrow with all 3 teams in action here in the local college baseball realm. But that's it for me. Here's Craig.
Yeah, first year for UCSD's coach Eric Newman to have his team available to go to the postseason.
Oh, that's
They've already won a
cool.
Big West championship.
Yeah, they won a Big
in their
West title
time.
when they couldn't advance. So incredible.
Yeah, it's a good year.
Yeah, it's our year. It's UCSD's year. Stepping into the spotlight, the Tritons. Okay, on to our local teams report. Hey, Gulls fans, good news. A dub. They don't come along that often. The San Diego Gulls showed their resilience. Going to Abbotsford last
Love
night
it.
and winning 4-1. Salvaging a split of the 2-game set in British Columbia. Sasha Pastuhov led the way with a pair of goals. Probably Pastuhov led the way with a pair of goals. His 13th and 14th of the season. San Diego moves on for a Saturday night game at Coachella Valley, but then they return home to host San Jose on Sunday. Yesterday afternoon in Coachella Valley, San Diego FC played Portland Timbers, conceded in the 12th minute, and the game held 1-0 all the way deep into the 80s. Chucky Lozano hit the post in the 73rd minute with a potential equalizer, and then, against reserves, 3s-on-3s, Portland got a couple goals late. So 3-0 is your final, but in reality, the game flow, and from a couple people that I know who were there, said it was actually a better match for SDFC than the first one they played.
That's good.
They had better control, they had better chances, and it was 1-0 for most of the match.
Yeah.
Just they gave up a couple late when they put in some kids and whatnot. So
And that's what you would want right now, just kind of progressively improving.
right, yeah, they get one more coming up this weekend. They've got one more exhibition out at Coachella Valley, and then a week from that, it's go time at LA Galaxy on the 23rd. Still a ways away for San Diego Wave FC. They are in training, but international window has come calling. It is February. She Believes Cup is coming up. A couple other international competitions, and the Wave have announced that 5 players have received the call to move to their international teams this month. Kaylin Sheridan, as always, she is the starting goalkeeper of Canada, so she's heading out. Also, Kira Carusa is going back to Team Ireland. Caitlin Torpy going to play for Team Australia. Hanna Lundqvist will play for Team Sweden. And Gia Corley, a new Wave. She is a German dual citizen, and she will go play for Team Germany. So congrats to those 5 Wave players going on to play for Flag and Country. All right, let's go to the first round of the Genesis Invitational taking place at soggy Torrey Pines, where they've been barely able to play.
Oh, it's soggy, all
Yeah,
right.
there they are.
It's ugly, and I'm looking right now.
Have they had to delay yet?
100%,
Okay.
because no one's finished a round.
Okay.
It looks like the most that anyone has gotten through the course so far is 11 holes.
It's got to be cold there by the water with the
Oh,
rain.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Cold, rainy, windy,
Yeah.
It's
ugly.
freezing at Cathedral
Are
during
there
this
any-
time of the year. and
Exactly.
They're inland.
Do we see any fans out there?
There's a handful. I saw
Okay.
a handful. But not on that
Oh,
hole.
it's windy. Look
not
how
on 17.
windy it is.
Yeah,
There
it's-
they are in the back.
Okay,
It's
there's not.
absolutely
I
terrible.
tell you what, you got tickets to the Genesis.
You will
got
be able to
some
see whoever you
great-
want to see. Yes.
Great viewing.
You will have a good spot to watch because
Maybe just everybody's in the little clubs over there.
that's true.
You can do as much as you can stand.
Yeah. Yes.
Right now.
And then go in and get a drink or some food, I guess, in one of those.
Well, I'm going to
tents.
reverse this scoreboard. Remember, this is a much smaller field of about 80 golfers in the Genesis, an elevated event. Former winner at Torrey Pines, last year's winner of the Farmers, Matthew Pavone, is out at +7 through 9 holes. Yikes.
Yikes.
Tomas Detry, who won last week at WM Phoenix Open, he's out at 3 over through 4. Jason Day, Stefan Yeager, Max Homa, Adam Scott, Sepp Straka, some great golfers, all out at 3 over, and that's through no more than 7 holes played. This course is brutal right now. There is a grand total of 7 players under par. They are all exactly 1 under par.
Oh.
And some of them only played through 3 holes.
Yeah. Okay, now hang on. We got 2. Davis, Thompson, and Minwoo Lee have just moved to 2 under par. So we got 2 at 2 under, got a handful at 1 under. Everyone else is even and above. It is just a brutal start to the Genesis.
2 under through 9 and 2 under through 6.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And
I got off to a hot start.
Yeah. Like, literally, this is almost a in reverse. Scotty Scheffler's out there at -1 now, but Akshay Bhatia is as well. But a lot of big names off to a struggly start in the rain, wind, nasty, everything.
That rough is probably so swampy.
Gross.
Swampy.
Just gross. The weekend's going to be great.
Yeah, for sure.
But the first 2 games, or the first 2 rounds, I should say, are going to be about survival.
Yeah, moving day is going to be tough.
Yeah, first 2 days straight
Oh,
survival.
look at the flag on the 3rd hole.
It's
I think it's whipping.
The wind is
That is whipping.
whipping, exactly. And then you see the little raindrops on the camera.
I wonder if they can see La Jolla from the 3rd hole in the south. It's probably just covered in cloud
That
cover.
wind is. Look. Oh.
It's kind of ugly out there right now. I would not want to be there right now. Normally, that is nothing you would hear me say.
Your one opportunity to play Torrey Pines is torrential downpour.
Right. Oh, the hard stuff isn't coming down
That's
yet.
right. I played the greatest disgrace day of my life.
Yeah, there's some people sitting in the tent area.
That's where I'd be sitting if
yeah,
I had
exactly.
that access.
No doubt. Just saw a guy putting named Danny List, who I've never heard of before, but he had the quite unfortunate shortening of his name on the scoreboard. Did you see that? It was
No.
D-List.
Oh, no.
You're not making the invite, buddy.
Wow.
Not making the cut.
Danny List is like the 3 people sitting here, D-list celebrities.
D-List celebrity.
That's right.
You got it.
Me, Craig, and Annie.
Yep.
Well, that's what's going on at the first round of the Genesis Open so far. All right, quickly to our other 2 major arena sports. Yesterday, the busiest day of the NBA. They had 15 games. Today, they have 5, and then it's going to shut down for All-Star Weekend in the Bay Area. Today, Golden State is at Houston, Sacramento at New Orleans, OKC takes on Minnesota, Miami at Dallas, and the Clippers will be at the Utah Jazz. Speaking of those Jazz, last night, they pummeled the Lakers.
Oh.
Yeah.
With Luka?
With Luka.
Oh, man.
With Luka. I was watching a decent part of this. Lakers just did not come to play. They left Lauri Markkanen open the whole game. 131-119. Jazz beat L.A., just really kind of humbled them. It just wasn't happening for the Lakers in this game. Clippers beat the Grizzlies 128-114. Denver, most entertaining game, maybe 132. Most entertaining game was the Knicks beating the Hawks 149-148 in overtime. That was fun. Okay, and we've given you the stats for today. Yesterday, the NHL Four Nations face-off began. Very exciting game. It was Sweden against Canada. Canada scored in the 60th minute to tie and then won in sudden death overtime on a Mitch Marner goal of the Toronto Blue Jays. Maple Leafs.
Maple Leafs,
Foul
Blue
on
Jays.
me.
Just a bunch of things they find in their front yard.
Fell on me for mistaking the Toronto teams.
And Raptors.
He draws the foul.
Raptors not involved. 4-3 Canada beats Sweden. Today, the United States takes on Finland. And you can watch that on either TNT or the Max app.
By the way,
who's the Canadian guy that said that was the fastest hockey game he's ever played in his career?
I don't know. Who was?
One of the players said, I don't know. I remember he was one of the 34-year-old Canadians that has been in the NHL for years. Apparently he's a stud. He said last night's game was the fastest hockey game he's ever played in his career.
That's
fun.
fun.
Really?
Yeah, like the most intense hockey game he's ever played in his career. And the guy's played in like multiple Stanley Cups.
I love it.
That says a lot.
Hey, international hockey competition is the absolute best. It's the absolute best when you get the superstars out there. So
makes it exciting.
I just have to set a mental reminder to watch that game tonight because it's not in my radar right now. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
So I gotta set like kind of a mental reminder, like if I'm
Gotta
gonna go to the
tell your fancy
gym.
new phone that
That's a good point.
Just let you know at like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m.
Hey Siri,
Yeah.
remind me when it's time for the NHL Four Nations face-off match tonight.
Okay, I've added NHL Four Nations
Thanks.
face-off match tonight for this evening at 7 p.m.
Groovy.
There you go.
That's what I do literally my entire day. Nick Pavetta is, by the way, Canadian.
Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
yes, he is Canadian.
So he's got all that Maple Leaf and Blue Jays.
And he probably likes hockey.
Probably likes hockey. He can bond with Jake Cronenworth.
Enjoys a good
That's
poutine.
right.
Yeah.
When he wears a cap on his head, he calls it a took.
I know we're going to hear from Mike Shildt, the Daily Shildt, in the next segment, but
Yes.
I'm also getting a request for this sound that you
Yes,
teased.
Kyle Hart. Let's play it.
Let's play Kyle Hart and Shildt.
All right.
I found Drew Doughty.
Oh,
the
Drew
guy
Doughty
said
was the
he
one.
said
eh?
that was the fastest game he's ever played in his career.
That's fun. Drew Doughty's great, too. All right, we coming back. Kyle Hart and the Daily Shildt. After this, Annie and Elsten on the Fan. Whoa. Okay. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring, but Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. Andy and Elsten back with you. This is where we will be bringing you the Daily Shildt over the course of the spring, as Mike Shildt usually has a morning press conference.
Yes.
With
Lucky us.
Yes, and so then we get the early afternoon distillation thereof. But first, let's get to the sound you were asked for by popular demand.
Yes.
Kyle Hart, if you missed this, the Padres signed 2 starting pitchers to major league contracts yesterday. One is not yet official, Nick Pavetta, a 4-year deal that includes opt-outs in 2027 and 2028. The other is Hart, who comes over from Korea, where he was outstanding in 1 year. He's a left-hander. He's 6'5". He had bounced around the minor leagues all throughout he was a college pitcher, was a really Friday night starter, college pitcher, University of Indiana. Got drafted by the Red Sox, worked through their organization, started 4 times COVID season, got his hat handed to him in 4 starts, bounced around the minor leagues after that, nothing really happening for him, went overseas, and something clicked.
Yeah.
Something locked in for him. He pitched to an ERA under 3. He threw like close to 150 innings. He struck out 180 dudes, and he won the Korean Baseball Cy Young Award. Now, he signed a 1-year, $1.5 million deal. It's $1 million base salary, either a $500,000 buyout or a club option for $5 million in 2026. Before the break and before the fix, we played him talking about why he went to Korea and the process to come back. Here is Kyle Hart talking about part of what appealed to him to specifically come to the San Diego Padres.
With the assumption that you wanted to come and pitch and make a lot of starts again, you must like what they told you about your opportunity here. What do you understand about that?
Yeah, I think Ruben made it pretty clear to me that there's some things that he already saw, like, that can kind of help me on my trajectory. I think that the display of resources that him and Peter Somerville kind of presented to me in our meeting was it kind of blew me away. So you're always trying to learn in this game, and that's something that I've kind of figured out over time. It's like if you have that growth mindset, you're gonna end up where you want to be. So I'm super excited to kind of latch on to what this pitching department has for me, and just kind of keep going from there.
When did the Padres first reach out? Do you remember?
There was several teams just kind of checking in. Free agency, I mean, for me was a little bit slower. I thought that I would, I think a lot of guys would probably, echo that. I was hoping to have things done a little bit earlier. I think the Padres probably reached out maybe within the last month. And then once I started diving a little bit, I expressed to my agent, like, hey, let's pursue this. And then once we got on the Zoom call, I think last week now, maybe a week ago, it kind of snowballed really quickly from there. I think both sides kind of liked what they saw. So
How has your pitch mix evolved? How did it evolve last season?
It hasn't changed a whole lot. I had a really great pitching coach, two great pitching coaches that helped me with the sweeper. That was probably the biggest improvement I made. But overall, just dropping the arm slot and letting it fall into a more athletic slot was something that really has helped me. So I don't think I haven't changed all my grips or anything. Just letting things just kind of be more natural, given my size and athletic ability. I think dropping that slot was probably the biggest thing.
Pretty interesting stuff.
Super cool. And as we were talking about Nick Pavetta, and you were talking about earlier, Craig, how Ruben Yeb, getting his hands on Nick Pavetta, you'd imagine the same thing. Ruben sees things, I'm sure, in Nick Pavetta that he knows he can tweak and get the most out of him. And it's cool to see him say that same thing about Kyle. I want to call him Nick so bad, and I don't know why. I guess because Nick Martinez, I don't know. But Kyle there, good to see that they connected on that presentation, and that makes it good for both sides.
Martin Perez came over at the trade deadline last year, and he pitched pretty decent baseball for the San Diego Padres. He didn't, light the universe on fire, right. but he pitched fine, right? 52 innings, he pitched fine. well, almost. Pretty good. Pretty solid. The Padres didn't use him in the postseason. They had one opportunity, Game 4 of the DS. They didn't use him in that game. They made that choice. But Martin Perez went on to sign a deal worth $5 million to go to the White Sox. That includes a $10 million mutual option, but we know mutual options are never picked up.
Yeah.
So he signed a one-year, $5 million deal with the White Sox. I feel pretty strongly, Annie, that based on all of this, the Padres have been doing their homework and doing their calculus, and they're looking at Martin Perez, age 33 season, $5 million, and going, you know what? Our scouting, our computer program, our pitching lab believes Kyle Hart, for $1 million, is going to pitch as well or better than Martin Perez coming back from Korea.
And that's what you got to kind of go with. I mean, that's especially when you're trying to find deals that work within whatever financial boundaries you have. If that's the case, which I believe it is, like you just said, a high upside guy that maybe needs some work, a little bit of a time with Ruben Niebla or in the pitching lab or whatever it is. Hopefully he can go ahead and tap into that, and you don't spend $5 million on him. You spend $1 million on him. And so you use that other $1 million to sign Jason Hayward and Connor Joe and et cetera, et cetera.
Bingo. No, 100, and Elias Diaz, right? I mean, like you can really look at the rest of the guys that have gotten filled out and going, well, we could have had all these guys or we could have had Martin Perez, and I think you'd rather go this way. Let's hear a little bit from Shildt. What do we got here, Braden?
That is adding depth to rotation.
Okay. Oh, look, Barry's still there.
2 more starting pitchers to be able to work with. Or at least one officially.
Yeah, I mean, we can only talk about the official ones.
Well, let's say the idea of having more depth there, how much better does that make?
Yeah, I mean, listen, AJ does what AJ does. He, supplements the club in areas we need it, and always looking and finding solution, which is what winners do. And, listen, the guy that's official is Kyle Hart, so we're excited about adding Kyle to the mix. Clearly had a great year in Korea last year, a lefty that gives us potentially another look in that rotation, which is good. And in talking to him, he's already acclimating well with the group, so that's a real positive. I've been encouraged not to speak too much about, Nick, and it's not official, so it's hard for me to comment on that, but clearly I got a smile on my face and excited about, the officialness of that taking place and getting started with a guy that's really going to help bolster our rotation to take us those next steps where we want to go.
What does the depth of those options now, understanding, we talked about it yesterday, how important it is to have that in the rotation, what does that do for you as a manager, of course?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just important from my seat and organizationally to know that we have quality depth, and a big part of the success of our club is the starting rotation. We talked about it yesterday with, getting contributions that took us to a 93-win season from 8 different starters, and that's just a big part of what that success looks like, and being able to add to it is really, really important, and we were able to do it yesterday and make it official again in a couple days, and it bodes well for us for sure.
So is the view with Kyle, kind of now that he's competing for that one of those spots at the back end, and knowing that you have those frontline guys in there, and kind of what do you expect from him in terms of?
Yeah, we're going to get to know him. We talked to him. There's been some ongoing conversation with him before he signed, and now that he signed, the conversations obviously ramp up. A guy that, like I said, will compete for a spot in the rotation. Also, want to make it clear to him and have that make sure that we have a full spring training. We have 39 full days left of camp, and he's going to want to come in and seize that rotation spot. But let's take inventory of where he's at right now and build him up appropriately, knowing we have the right kind of time, and take the right steps that are appropriate to getting him to his best version.
Interesting stuff from Mike Shildt. He can't talk about Pavetta, but he knows.
He's got a smile on his face.
It's like, to me, it's the same category to me as a player that is fouled out in basketball that pretends that he didn't foul out. We all know he fouled out, dude. Go sit on the bench. I don't know what this whole, maybe they might.
I'm just going to stand here until someone actually taps me
everybody
on the
knows
shoulder.
the guy got signed. I know legally now and all the legalities of things, but it's just... It's the whole, well, it's reported. It's reported. Well, I don't know. I can't say yet. And even though they all know the deal is done, you got 5 fouls, buddy. Sit down.
Maybe the Charlotte Hornets guy has spooked everyone.
Yes,
true.
Maybe Mark Williams has spooked everyone about physicals.
That's right. You
Just
never know.
can't be too sure.
I mean, if they sign the deal right and he's somewhere else. Do you see Jason Hayward before he came out to Peoria?
He was in the
He's
a
in a
blizzard.
snowstorm.
Yeah, he was
He
in.
probably cannot wait to get to the Cactus League.
He had his bat in an absolute blizzard in
Yes.
Chicago. Yeah, snow everywhere.
The foul thing is on my list of pet peeves now after doing enough basketball games. You got 5. Stop pretending you don't. Stop trying to hide behind somebody else. I know it's a automatic timeout to figure out what we're going to do to put somebody in. Everybody in the arena knows you got 5 fouls. Just sit down. Insane.
By the way, I've come up with the nickname for our left field platoon. I think people had it backwards. But if you remember Jimi Hendrix at all, Hey Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hey Joe.
Hey, Jay.
You can just play a little piece of Hendrix. You know,
Jay.
when either one
Okay.
of them comes up, play Hey Joe.
Works.
That was a famous Hendrix song. Hey
Yeah.
Joe. Why Joe Word? I don't like Joe Word. I like Hey Joe.
Be like Joe Hay.
Joe Hay. Joe Hay
Joe
sounds
Hay.
too much like Shohei.
Yeah, it does
I don't
sound
like
like
that.
Shohei. Yeah.
No. Hey Joe.
Yeah, I'm
Hey
good with
Joe. Why you got a gun in your hand?
it. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean those are the
the
lyrics.
song.
Those are the lyrics. When we come back, it's time for Anybody Knows. This is today's silly game and your opportunity to go see Motley Crue live in Vegas. All we need is for you to call in and be a contestant in the game of Crazy Easy Trivia, known as Anybody Knows, where you go head-to-head with Annie Halbern in a 10-question quiz. Our number is 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Give us a ring. We'll screen a contestant. We'll come back and play a silly game next. Annie and Elsten go until 2. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 1244 on the Fan. Don't forget to listen to Inside San Diego Baseball with Sam Levitt. That's Wednesday, 7 to 9 p.m. right here on 97.3 The Fan and on our YouTube page where Sam talks all things Padres baseball, including all the way through spring training. So check it out. Inside San Diego Baseball with Sam Levitt's Wednesday, 7 to 9. Also, don't forget that at the top of the hour, we will be announcing today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game. Register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan, and you could get your name called down the road. Okay, 2 liners down, and a reminder, it's silly games time. And today, we're playing for yet another Las Vegas end of the month grand prize drawing. This one is to see Motley Crue, 2 tickets to the show, plus a hotel stay at Park MGM. And it's time to play the game of easy trivia. Anybody knows. Well, you got to take on Annie Heilbrunn head to head. And if you can tie her or beat her, you are in the drawing today. Charisma in San Diego is our guest and our contestant. What's up, Charisma?
Oh my gosh! Hi.
It's exciting to have you
easy
here.
Questions.
Well, they're always easy. That's the whole nature of it.
I know.
The whole point of the game.
That's the idea. But Charisma, for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh no, I don't like talking about myself. I'm a longtime Padres fan, born and raised in San Diego. I don't know what else you want.
Social media maven.
Oh no.
Wife to a great guy named Chris. You like to go to Glamis sometimes. Sure. I mean, I could have done it.
Yes. Shout out to my husband, Chris. He's probably listening right now on his lunch break.
Chris has won before on the show.
That's true.
So now Charisma has to try to win. That's right.
Let's make it a family affair. All right, Charisma, here's how it's going to work. Very straightforward. Stay centered. Stay calm. Braden Soprenet has a 10-question trivia card that he has pulled out of our box. He's going to read you the 10 questions. Try not to overthink them. They are generally pretty straightforward. They usually deceive you by being too easy sometimes. You're going to get the chance to answer all 10 questions. If you get them all right, the game's over. We'll still have Annie play for fun, but you'll win. But otherwise, Annie will come in, take the same survey, and if you tie or beat her, then you guys are in the drawing for Motley Crue at the end of the month. Sound good?
Okay.
I'm going to be keeping score. I'm rooting for you. Good luck. Here's Braden.
All right, 1 minute on the clock after I ask you question number 1. Who played groundskeeper Carl Spackler in the 1980 comedy Caddyshack?
Oh my gosh. I have to skip that one. I never saw it.
Oh no.
Oh no. What?
I'm sorry.
Same guy as Groundhog Day, by the way.
That's right. What one-name singer sang Like a Virgin and Vogue?
Madonna.
Madonna is correct. What was ALF in the sitcom ALF? What did it stand for? What did the ALF stand for in ALF?
Wasn't it like art
Or no, what was ALF? I don't even need to know. I just need what was it?
It was like I picture it. I just don't.
What was
it?
It
was like an alien.
Yes,
alien. There you go.
Alien life form. That's
Alien
what it
life
stood
form is what it stood for, but he is an alien. What does horseradish come from?
Like, where does it come from? Radish?
Horseradish root.
Yeah, root comes from a root.
Root.
Oh, that's an X. That's okay.
Which animal produces honey?
Bee.
Yeah.
What's the third vowel in the alphabet? That's kind of hard.
Third vowel. A-E-I. I.
Is correct. Long, flat-layered noodles with various sauces, vegetables, and meat arranged between them. An Italian dish called what?
Oh, lasagna.
Lasagna.
Bingo.
Where is Carnegie Hall?
Carnegie Hall.
City that never sleeps.
Why do I want to say New York? New York?
Because
New York
it's
City?
Because it's New York City.
Because it's the correct answer.
Okay.
Who played Troy in Disney's High School Musical?
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron is correct. Which NBA team plays its home games at Madison Square Garden?
Madison Square Garden is the... Is that the Brooklyn Nets.
No, it's the Knicks.
That'd be the New York
No.
Knicks.
It's the Knicks.
New York
All right.
Knicks, sorry.
If you can name me the groundskeeper in Caddyshack.
Also was in Groundhog Day. Also was in Ghostbusters.
In Ghostbusters.
Very famous.
With the initials BM.
Like the actor's name?
Yes.
Bill Murray?
Bill Murray.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Charisma. We're rooting for you. We're going to make Annie hear all the questions in Spanish. We'll see if it...
Okay.
See if she can get it done.
Stay on hold there. All right, Annie, your opponent today is Charisma.
Charisma?
Charisma.
Yes.
Oh my God! How did she do?
She did well.
Okay.
Fairly well.
Okay.
But you could win.
Okay.
You could win.
Okay.
So
The door is open.
Yeah. I wish you not too much luck.
Charisma has a way of winning contests. Like if she gets in, she gets good luck.
She'll get picked.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 1. Who played groundskeeper Carl Spackler in the 1980 comedy Caddyshack? Who was
Bill
the
Murray?
Bill Murray is
Yeah, it was
correct.
Bill Murray.
What one-named singer sang Like a Virgin and Vogue?
Madonna.
Madonna. What was Alf in the sitcom Alf? What was he?
It was like an alien bear kind of thing.
He's an alien.
He was
That is
an alien.
Alien life form is what
It
Alf
was an
stands
alien
for.
bear kind of thing. He was.
What does horseradish come from?
Horses.
No.
Incorrect.
It comes from the horseradish root. Horses. That'd be gross. Which animal produces honey?
How do you get that right? Okay,
I-
honey.
Stop asking questions.
Stop right now.
Foul. Pause the time. Which animal produces honey?
That'd be bees.
Okay.
Yes. Biz bees. As opposed to just a bee. But okay. What's the third vowel in the alphabet?
E?
Wrong!
Oh!
You could have just gone A-E-I-O-U, which would be I.
Oh!
I.
I.
A-E-I-O-U.
I was trying to do the alphabet.
Yeah, that
and
takes a
find
lot
it.
longer.
All right.
Long,
Okay.
flat layered noodles with various sauces, vegetables, and meat arranged between them. This Italian dish is called
Wait, what?
long, flat layered noodles with various
Oh.
sauces, vegetables, and meat arranged between them is an Italian dish called
Yes, you would kill me if I got this wrong. Lasagna.
lasagna.
Yes.
Where's Carnegie Hall?
New York City.
New York
Manhattan.
City is correct. Who played Troy in Disney's High School Musical?
Oh, Charisma would know this, but I don't think I do. I know. I see them in my. It's not Justin Bieber, is it? Is
No,
it
it's
Justin?
not.
Oh no, I. Yeah.
Justin Bieber. I think
don't
Justin
know.
Bieber was around. It would be Zac Efron.
Yeah, Zach. I could see his face.
Which NBA team plays its home games at Madison Square Garden?
The Knicks.
The New York Knicks.
8-7 Charisma!
Charisma. What did Charisma get wrong?
She missed the horseradish root,
Oh well, yeah.
and she thought it was the Nets who played at the
Oh,
at the
okay.
Garden.
Understandable.
And
Yeah.
we gave her the Bill Murray one. So.
I basically let her.
Well, she
But
would have
if she would have got it,
anyways,
yeah, if she got it wrong,
yeah,
if it was
it would've
tied, she would have
tied.
won.
Yeah.
Even though I led her down the garden path for Bill Murray, nonetheless, it would have been 7-7, and that's still a win.
That's still a
It
tie.
is Galentine's Day tomorrow, so it's good to have female
Tomorrow
winner.
or today? Is it on Valentine's Day?
No,
Oh.
I thought it was the day
I
after.
think you could do it either day.
Tomorrow.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, it's Nick Pavetta's birthday tomorrow.
Okay.
He turns 32.
St.
Well,
Valentine's.
born on a day of love.
He is.
There you go.
Yeah, can only mean good things.
Wow.
Hopefully he sees his
Yeah.
contract signed then officially.
Charisma,
Exactly.
you did
Yeah.
it. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Is she there?
She's there.
She's there, I think.
I'm here.
Hey!
Oh, hi. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Appreciate you. We wish you the best of luck, but
Yes.
according to Jocelyn, you don't need it. It's basically a fait accompli once you're in. I didn't know that was the case, but best of luck and hope to see you in Vegas in a month, Charisma. Take care.
Yeah.
Stay on hold.
Yay!
I don't think we need it, but Braden will get
We
your
do. It
information.
need one piece of information
Okay.
that's missing from her.
Okay.
So stay there, Charisma. Stay right there.
Wait, does the winner in Vegas get to listen? Is that Metallica
It's
still?
Motley Crue.
Motley Crue.
Motley
Exciting.
Crue, Metallica, it's all the same.
Let's start with them. Both hard rockers.
Yeah.
Old hard rocker.
Did we have? Did we?
We had Scorpions.
Oh,
Scorpions
Scorpions.
were
Okay, I'm
before.
way off. Well,
Remember we had the whole
60 years of the Scorpions,
Yeah,
and I was
and nobody believed
curious
it.
how any rock band could exist for 60
yeah,
years.
yeah, but they're doing it.
They're doing it. Still kicking.
Clean living for those boys in Scorpion, obviously.
I'm sure, yeah.
It's a
Clean
fun
animal
round.
based diet. With no other Additives.
No
Have you ever
additives,
had
no preservatives.
horseradish mixed into mashed potatoes?
Yes.
That's
No,
good.
that sounds good.
Quite good.
That's good.
I love horseradish with
horseradish
with prime
is
rib.
good.
Do you know that like
Oh yeah.
most
Yeah.
like sushi places, the wasabi is just dyed horseradish?
Oh,
Pretty
I
much.
didn't know that.
Yeah, if you can find a place that has like real wasabi, always get it. It's the best.
I don't think I was that far off with Justin Bieber, Braden. Zac Efron,
He was way
Justin
after
Bieber. Was he?
Justin Bieber though. Justin Bieber was like, yeah, because that movie came out when I was like in middle school, I think, and Justin Bieber started becoming popular when I was in high school or just after.
Good old Zach.
Good old Zach.
Mm-hmm.
Zach's brother Dylan is on the current season of The Traitors.
Dylan Efron?
Dylan Efron.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a
Younger
brother.
or older? Do you know? Does he look-
Younger? I think younger.
Okay, how's he doing?
He's doing okay.
Okay.
He's actually doing okay. He caught a traitor. He caught one traitor at least.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's
Good
pretty
start.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny though because everyone just kind of dismisses him as Zac Efron's brother.
That's what he's probably been known as his whole life. Oh,
Yeah.
it's Zac Efron's brother. Like, what's his face? Pat Mahomes' brother.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
New episode of The Traitors coming out tonight. But up next, it's hour number 4 of Annie and Elsten as we hit reset on all of our key stories. Nick Pavetta's a Padre next. 1 o'clock on the Fan. Hour number 4 of Annie and Elsten. Rolling with you till 2 o'clock. It'll be Chris Ello and Matt Scraby checking in at 2 o'clock. Tony Gwynn Jr.'s got the whole week off. Good on him. Missed a great signing, though.
He's got his hours cut out for him pretty soon as the broadcast start in spring training. So I'm sure for him, this is like one last hurrah before a very long baseball season starts.
I think it was his wife's birthday.
Oh, good. Good for them.
Even better.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what the gym said. The gym we go to that has like the happy birthday to whatever.
Uh-huh.
And her name was on it. So
nice.
That was on Wednesday.
Solid.
So, yeah.
Of course, President's Day weekend coming up. Hope you all have Monday off. We have Monday off.
That a short show.
Also,
on
we saw Friday. We're off at 12.
Is that next Friday?
Yeah.
Wait,
Spring
this
training
Friday?
debut. No, next Friday.
Oh, yeah, next Friday.
Next
Oh,
Friday.
wow.
Yeah, spring
I didn't
training
know
debut.
which Friday it was. I didn't look at the date. So
Carrying
all
it
right,
live here on
okay.
97.3 The Fan.
Hey, that'll be awesome. Then we can just
Scoot.
dip out and listen to the game,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's what we will be doing.
We will be listening
Mhm.
faithfully.
I'll be in
That's right.
Tucson anyway.
That's all right.
Oh, okay.
It's cool. It's all good. It's all
Wow,
good.
so games start next
Yeah.
Friday? Is that the
Next
first
Friday.
day?
Next
So they have their
Friday.
first full squad on the 17th, I believe.
Yep.
So that's Monday? Is that
They
Monday?
play on the 21st.
Wow, yeah. Okay, so first full squad, official for full squad on Monday, and then they play on Friday.
Against
Starting.
the
Here we go.
Mariners, correct?
Here we
Yeah.
go. Speaking of here we go for today's biggest fan. It is time to announce today's biggest fan, and we want to say congratulations to Gracie Omler from San Diego. OMLER.
Gracie has been manifesting in the chat
She
every
has.
day this week and last week even.
Gracie, are you there? Are you manifesting today?
Gracie,
should.
I don't see her today. Gracie,
Oh
I
my
hope
goodness.
you are being told about this because I don't know if she finally gave up. She was in here every day manifesting.
Well, Gracie, your manifestation, sometimes it takes, a little bit of
Yes.
time.
Yes.
But it
Oh.
comes around. Gracie Omler from San Diego, give us a call back in the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, and you will qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey suite. Oh, there she is.
Oh,
there she
Gracie.
is. Yes.
Brandon says another
Yes.
female winner for Valentine's Day. That's right, Brandon.
Amazing.
It's all working out.
Remember, you can register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. But let's just say hi. Here, throw Gracie on the air real quick, Braden. Let's say hi to her. She's been manifesting this for a week.
Hello,
Gracie.
Gracie.
You did it. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
We just wanted to hear your happy voice. I'm so glad you were tuned in today.
Absolutely. I was about to jump on the treadmill, so it's a good pause, I guess.
Fantastic.
All right, well, we'll give you back to Braden. He can get all your info, but thank you for being the biggest fan today. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Amazing. It's 2 in a row for us now.
Yes.
Building
On a roll.
momentum. Yep.
On a roll.
Can't start a winning streak unless you win 2.
That's right.
So now we got a streak going. Now we can get it
There we go.
rolling.
Friday, tomorrow. Got to end the week on a high note.
Dang right.
I'm glad you called in because I saw that the last couple of weeks.
Me
She was
too.
in the chat, and I already saw her name. I saw her name last week, like early last week, on the list, and I was like, I just got to wait a couple of days. Hang in there.
Hang in there, hanging around.
Yeah.
Amazing. Good job, Gracie. And tune in tomorrow at 1. Also today at 5:30. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. with Ben and Woods, and
Yeah.
then back with us at 1 o'clock. We'll have one more this week.
We've tied the leaderboard for the week.
Let's go.
Gwen and Chris have a chance to pass us this
Eh.
afternoon, but hopefully they.
I mean, I don't want to root for anyone to fail, but I just want us to succeed more.
That's right.
all.
Yeah, we went toe to toe with the morning show in the first week. Second week did very poorly.
Yep.
Oh,
Very
wow.
last.
Okay.
Third week doing a lot better. Gwen and Chris averaging 2 a week.
We can kick their butt.
I agree.
I think we know what's going to happen. All right, let's hit reset on today's biggest stories, which are 2 starting pitcher signings for the San Diego Padres. One, very much like what we are used to. A young man, 31 years old, about to turn 32, Kyle Hart. Never heard of him. Pitched in Korea. Was great in Korea last year.
Yeah.
Won the KBO's version of the Cy Young. Left-hander, 6'5", Lowered his arm slot, he said, into a more athletic place. It got a way more horizontal break on his sweeper. He struck out over 180 batters last year, and he gets $1 million with a $500,000 buyout at the end of the year, or a $5 million club, not player option, for 2026.
He's definitely a prove it guy. He's going to come in and have to earn that opportunity and prove himself. But we've seen it with Robert Suarez, and we've seen it with Nick Martinez coming over from playing internationally, and it's worked out well.
It has. So we'll see. A lotto ticket.
It's
for
a lotto
sure.
ticket, exactly.
However, you got a lefty with a big frame, good stuff, a lot of Ks last year. If he can step in, it's a lovely value signing. But that's what it is. It's a value signing. Nick Pavetta is a different kind of value signing. It's the top value remaining on the free agent board, hitter or pitcher, now that Alex Bregman is off. And the Padres got him at an incredible value price. $3 million signing bonus this year, $1 million base salary, salary balloons next year to $19 million, and then he's got an opt-out after 2026. He's got an opt-out after 2027, but Pavetta, for the guaranteed grand price of 2 years, $23 million, is a San Diego Padre, is a Padre next year, and steps into that fourth starter spot with the resume of a solid number 3 starter in Major League Baseball. All of a sudden, the Padres have 4 solid starters again. We had that at the end of the year, and then Joe Musgrove went down, got the elbow injury, Tommy John surgery. We dropped down to 3. With Pavetta, I feel like we got 4 solid veteran guys now.
Should be. I mean, that's the hope for sure. He is a very high strikeout, low walk guy, has struggled with inconsistency in his career. Hopefully the change of ballpark over to Petco Park, as well as working with Ruben Niebla, helps him, and he can be a very solid back of the rotation member. And he's had work in the bullpen as well. So if you ever needed him to slide over there or do that in the playoffs, he possibly could as well. So definitely some things to look forward to there. And then also, even hearing from some videos he did last year, he believes he's got more in the tank that he's got to tap into. So hopefully something to unlock here in San Diego.
Yeah, when you listen to, for example, Sarris this morning, when you look at some of the stat head breakdowns of Nick Pavetta, we played a clip from Hembo from ESPN earlier. There's really a lot to like. There's a fastball that lives at the top of the zone that has that beautiful thing they talk about these days, induced vertical break. What does that mean? It's one of those balls that looks like it's rising when you throw the fastball, that fastball that stays on that carry plane and doesn't drop down into the zone. He's got that, and he's got a 12-6 hammer curveball that tunnels right off of that. So both pitches start at the same spot. One stays high, the other one drops low. That's why he averages 10-plus strikeouts per 9 innings in his career. Now, he hangs some.
He does.
He got hit by righties last year. Righties touched him up a little bit. He gave up 17 of his 24 homers to righties last year. So that sounds like something that, based on the deeper inspection, a lot of those came off of a sweeper that he was missing against right-handers. Sweeper is Ruben Niebla's pet pitch. So maybe there's some area to tweak, some areas to refine. But what I love about Pavetta is that he's another tall drink of water. He's got a big frame. And to me, he's like a more reliable Michael Wacha, in that Michael Wacha is like guaranteed to be on the disabled list every year and give you 120 innings. Pavetta has generally been good for 145 plus in his big league career.
Yeah, and hopefully they can get even a little bit more out of him. Obviously, getting to 150 is always a plus, but maybe even get a little farther with that and go past that. I saw something yesterday about how in his entire career, I think he isn't injury riddled a lot. I know at least that. He may have had his first IL stint that wasn't COVID related for the first time last year. I think it was last year. But essentially, like, you don't see him hit the injured list a lot, or at least he hasn't in his career.
Knock wood.
Right, exactly. But he should have a good defense behind him, even a better defense than he had with the Red Sox playing behind him at Petco Park. So some things that I think might be helpful for him. He was a little bit unlucky last year. I said this in the first hour of the show that he had a really tough start to 2023 out of the rotation. His first 8 starts he pitched to like a 6 ERA over 6. So they moved him into the bullpen, and it was there that he regained his strikeout stuff, and then they stretched him back out in 2024 and utilized him in the rotation, and he had a decent year. So that's the hope. You just keep building on that.
One thing that we haven't talked about regarding Pavetta that I really like, Nick Pavetta has lowered his walk rate 3 consecutive seasons.
Yeah, it's not high at all.
Yeah, he went from averaging close to 4 walks per game back in 2021 to about the same in 2022. That dropped to 3.2 in 2023. And last year it was down to 2.2, the lowest walk rate of any full season for Nick Pavetta. In terms of just true walks, he went from 73 to 50 to 36 last year against 172 strikeouts. So this is why I'm really excited about this particular player coming to San Diego, because he has done certain things very reliably. He has provided innings pitched, he has provided strikeouts, and generally fly balls with, some of them are going to go over the fence. There's no question. Yeah. But when you drop your walk rate as a guy who gives up home runs, all of a sudden you're giving up solo shots instead of 2-run and 3-run homers that are drastically affecting the game. Now you mix in on top of that, you're going to a more, not drastically, but you're going to a more pitcher-friendly park, going from Fenway to Petco Park, and you're putting 3 Gold Glove potential outfielders out there. Jason Hayward's won 5 Gold Gloves. Jackson Merrill, rookie year, he didn't win a Gold Glove, but he's a really good, solid defender. And Fernando Tatis Jr., Platinum Glove, just 2 years ago. So for all the balls that don't go over the fence, I feel like the Padres have a good chance to run them down for Nick Pavetta.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So there's a lot to like there, and I think that I'm sure he's excited for that opportunity too, to be, I was talking earlier in the show about how the park factors for last year between Fenway and Petco were pretty similar. They played pretty similar. But Fenway's a weird park. There's a lot of different angles. There's a lot of, as you all know, there's, it is a weird ballpark because of obviously its history, where Petco plays a little bit more traditional, and I think that'll be helpful as well.
Indeed. The biggest thing to me, though, the single biggest thing that I would want to make sure all Padre fans listening recognize is that through the last month and a week, it was January 6th where Shildt Seidler's lawsuit came out. And for the last 5 weeks, honestly, I think Padre fans have been living under a storm cloud, or at least black clouds, and feeling pretty gloomy about the direction of the team. And there was a lot of reporting from credible sources that the Padres would, under no scenario, those were written words, no scenario, go over the collective bargaining tax, that they were locked in, handcuffed, couldn't get $1 in unless there was $1 out. But John Seidler, the new control person, still can't talk yet for another 3 weeks or so, but actions speak louder than words. Signing Nick Pavetta, combined with the previous moves of Hayward and Joe and now Kyle Hart, the Padres' collective bargaining tax number is $258 million. 261 is the second apron. 241 is the first apron. We're now $17 million over and basically spending up to the second limit, which is all we could have ever asked of this organization come the offseason, knowing what was in store for 2025.
Yes, and they are, at least right now, for all we can tell, okay with taking that luxury tax hit, which will be like somewhere between $3 and $4 million most likely. So that's good to see that that's possible, because absolutely, we didn't think that was possible. I didn't think that was possible a few weeks ago, but it seems to be the case, and that's great, because you can give yourself a little bit more flexibility with your contract, like they did with Nick Pavetta. They're getting a lot of value. They're getting a lot of lottery tickets. Not so much Nick Pavetta, but as I said in the Sports Fix, 5 free agents for a total of $8.5 million in base salary and signing bonus in Elias Diaz, Connor Joe, Jason Hayward, and Pavetta and Hart. But that's kind of the way they're playing it, is like, let's get these guys all on the team and hopefully most, if not all of them, find success with the Padres.
Bottom line, the single biggest weakness for the San Diego Padres coming into this week was the idea that you had Cease, outgoing free agent, King, outgoing free agent, Yu Darvish, 39 years old, Joe Musgrove, injured, out for the year, and then Matt Waldron, Randy Vasquez. Who was the next guy? There was this feeling of, wow, we've got 5 starters in the organization that can pitch in 2025 in the big leagues that we can even kind of hope to be reliable. But if even one of them gets injured, now we're down to we don't know who. Mm-hmm. Somebody in the Ryan Bergert, Austin Krob, somebody off the scrap heap. Well, that's changed now. Now you can say Cease, King, Darvish, Pavetta, who's guaranteed to be here at least 2 years. Hart, we don't know if he's going to be good, bad, or indifferent, but he's coming in with the intent to be a starter on this team. If he wins the 5th starter's job, now all of a sudden Matt Waldron, the guy who was going to be your number 4 starter yesterday, today could be the opening day starter for El Paso with Vasquez behind him. And those are now your 6th and 7th starters. All of a sudden, you're getting to a much better spot where you could withstand an injury or two over the course of the year and not lose your momentum.
Yeah, exactly. So there's still, we saw what Matt Waldron can do, and Matt Waldron has been told throw the knuckleball more, get that confidence up, and hopefully in the second year in the big leagues. I mean, the first year is such a trip, it's so cool in so many ways, but there's so much being thrown at you, and especially there in August for Matt Waldron, it was easy to get inside your own head when he started slipping a little bit, but he really kept the Padres in it for what, 2 months of the season at least. So hopefully he takes a step up. You're hoping the same for Brito and Vasquez, and if you got to go to Kolek and I can't remember if there's one more. Then, that again, they're flyers, but maybe you don't need them for but 1 or 2 starts, or maybe you get to mix them up, or you get to have them compete in AAA and get the best one. And that's kind of the hope there. Yeah,
I guess we would say if we're saying that Waldron and Vasquez are sitting in a loose 6-7, or put Hart in a 5-6-7, and those 3 guys are in that box. Now you've got Brito as an 8, right? Who was the other one you just said as a 9? You're starting to. Oh, Kolek, pardon me. Yeah. Kolek as a 9. Now we could say that you could have a Vasquez, Waldron, Brito, Kolek, somebody, El Paso rotation. Like that could be your rotation. And I'm just saying that is so much of a better position because you just don't know. You never know, but you kind of do that over the course of 162 games, 5 guys aren't going to be able to take the ball every single turn. Right, exactly. And that was in the UT this morning about, before the Nick Pavetta signing happened, it was a look at how many teams have to utilize how many starting pitchers to be able to get into the playoffs. And the Padres really were an outlier last year because they needed so few starting pitchers. But that's the first time for the Padres they've needed those. The number was 8 in 15 years. Usually it's 11, 12, 13 or more. So they've got to at least prepare for the fact that you might be needing more than the guys that you have and try to get as much starting pitching possible as you can. None of us would ever say, like, well, if we lose our top 3 starters, we're going to be fine. That's not the case. Of course, we'd be terrible if we lost our top 3 starters. But it's just a nice feeling to know that it's not straight into red alert, fly the red flag, we're in huge trouble if one guy, sprains their ankle, or one guy feels something in the arm and they shut him down for 4 weeks. Now you just feel so much more comfortable that you could at least withstand a couple of injuries and still be right there fielding a rotation that feels competitive enough to win in the playoffs. And that's why I'm so excited. It's a dual reason. We've addressed our number one concern, and the team is spending up to the second limit. Nobody thought that was possible a week ago. No one thought that was possible Monday for them to do that. And this is the clearest sign yet, without having it being spoken. It's the clearest sign yet from the Padres' current ownership that, yes, they are living up to the words they've said. They are continuing the legacy of fighting to win and doing everything they can to win. And that's all we can ask for as fans. Can't ask for them to guarantee that they're going to do it. You can only ask that they're going to try as hard as they can and spend as much as they can. And I think that's what we've got now. Pretty dang exciting.
Got to go out and play the game still.
That's why they play the games. Cancel the parade. Hopefully we'll be saying that to LA. All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back, a grab bag of a couple of things we haven't gotten to yet, including something that won't matter right now, but a couple years from now could be huge in the world of United States professional soccer and could be a rival to our beloved San Diego FC and to Major League Soccer as an institution. We'll get to that story and plenty more. And we've got Ask Us Anything to wrap up the program. Stay right here. Annie and Elsten go until 2 o'clock on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Dave Marcus in the house. Let's go.
It's been awesome.
A yearly Dave Marcus sighting here, although
Yes.
you see him at Petco Park on the daily.
Literally said to us, see you next year.
Yeah. Sounds like he rolls through Odyssey Palace once a year.
Does he even have an access card to get in here?
Right? I don't
There's
know.
probably so many people going like, "Are you new here, sir?"
Yeah.
I've
Sir,
been
you
here longer
lost?
than everybody else.
Hey, the Slam Dunk in Vegas National Contest is your chance at the ultimate trip to Las Vegas. All you have to do is download the Odyssey app, log in, listen to 97.3 The Fan for at least an hour, and earn your daily entry into this national contest. The grand prize is travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's premium sports viewing destination, where you can watch the biggest March Hoops party at Stadium Swim, plus $20,000 cash.
It's getting closer.
So close. My mighty Tritons.
Exciting.
Trying to hang on.
Tritons at Baco tonight. Take down
Baco?
the,
I don't think they call it
take
that.
They
down
call
them
it
hay
Baco?
seeds.
I don't think that's a.
I don't-
no,
I
I don't
don't-
think
Take
that's
down them
anything.
old hay seeds
like
in
it's
Bakersfield.
Baco.
Baco. Yeah, Baco.
Cal State, the Roadrunners,
We're going out to Baco.
the Runners.
Feel like that was said at some point in the American Hockey League.
Okay.
Out to Baco.
Well, this is not the American Hockey
Maybe you're
League.
making a new term happen, you know?
Maybe. Like Chrome Dragons.
Yeah, yes.
Working on that one.
Making fetch happen.
Trying to happen.
Oh, baby. All right. Couple of quick things here. Well, at least one quick thing. I wanted to, 2 things to bring your attention. We haven't talked about Alex Bregman at all. What are your thoughts on 4 years? No,
What did he
3
get?
years.
He got
3
years.
3 years, $120 million. Each year is the same, $30 million guaranteed, 10 deferred, and he can opt out after each of the first 2 years. So it's a 1 year, 30 plus $10 million contract, followed by a second one, followed by a third one, and he's going to Boston to play second base because Rafael Devers is going to stay at third base.
I mean, he's a career winner. We know how good he is. He helps your team. It's a lot of money. I get, I don't know what the Red Sox maybe don't have constraints. They can do that kind of deal. But are the Red Sox, with the addition of him, close? Like, they made some other moves this offseason,
They
right?
did. They got
okay,
Garrett
so
Crochet.
they might be,
Garrett Crochet,
yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice pickup for them.
They'll be. The Yankees fans think that the Red Sox have passed them. I think
Oh,
it's very
interesting. So they're a
possible.
little worried.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they definitely have made a run for everybody else's money in the AL East.
Here's what they've got right now. Jarren Duran, who was an all-star last year
Okay.
in left field. Devers, Bregman, Tristan Casas, the first baseman. They've still got the Japanese outfielder Masataka Yoshida, who's not really done a lot. They've got Trevor Story, who we were talking about as a my bad deal for yours Xander thing.
Yeah.
He's been hurt basically all of the last 2 years. They've got the young outfielder Wilyer Abreu, who had a good year last year. They got Connor Wong as their catcher, and they got the very young center fielder Sedan Rafaela, good defender. That's their lineup. They've got Crochet, Tanner Houck, Brian Bayo, Cutter Crawford, Walker Buehler, and Lucas Giolito coming back from injury this year. Those are their 6 planned starters. Liam Hendricks coming back from injury and Aroldis Chapman are the co-closers for the Bo Sox, with some other dudes behind them who are all just kind of guys. Does that sound like a superstar team?
Sound like a team that can make the playoffs.
Sounds like a team that's pretty solid.
They're a playoff team.
They're
They'll be in the competition. It's not. They're not going to be.
I mean,
awful.
Bregman makes them better, no doubt about it. I mean, Bregman's a great player.
He is.
It was either going to be Bregman or Arenado for them. That was basically what they were going to come down to.
I'm glad you brought up Arenado. By the way, for Bregman, just quickly, the Tigers offered him a 6-year deal, or were ready to, around $171.5 million, but he wanted to play for the Red Sox instead. So he goes over there. $40 million's a lot, but then again, these days, the numbers are so high everywhere,
I'm going to give you my honest take. I always do. I think this is a big overpay for Boston. And I think the nature of the deal is such that Bregman will never opt out, because unless he has the season of his life at age 31, he's not going to get more than $40 million average annual value.
Like Jurickson Profar did.
No,
Right.
No, I think he's staying.
Yeah, me too. He is a good defender at third. That I don't necessarily know that translates to being a great defender at second, where you have to have a lot more range and your arm doesn't come into play nearly as much. The thing that if I was a Red Sox fan, and trust me, I'm not, but if I was a Red Sox fan,
because you're a Diamondbacks fan,
right? Exactly. I love them so much. The thing that would
that's
really...
a bit anybody just tuning in. He's not actually.
I'm not. I hate the Diamondback. I can't stand them. But the thing that would really concern me if I was a Red Sox fan is that Alex Bregman, before last year, was a very consistent source of on-base percentage. And last year, that fell through the floor. His walks went from 92 down to 44, playing just about the same number of games. He basically slashed his walk rate in half, which is not what you want for an offensive player. And his on-base percentage last year was only .315, which is quite low. So if he's not walking, and I know he's had in a small sample great success at Fenway Park. Cool. Well, he used to have the short boxes in left field to shoot at in Houston. So having the Green Monster versus the Crawford boxes, I don't think it's a huge advantage gained for Bregman. But you're paying top of market for Alex Bregman, and I don't know if he's top of market at his position anymore.
I do agree with this comment in the chat from Brandon. Where I think the Red Sox did a good job is it's only 3 years.
That's true.
You aren't tied to them for 6 or 10 or these long-term contracts that really leave a lot open to uncertainty. The Nolan Arenado thing is so interesting because they really tried to make a deal happen, and both sides were pretty clear that it was probably a good idea for Nolan Arenado to find a new team, and that would allow the Cardinals to get some other young players in and relieve some of their salary and everything like that. And there's just not a market for him. There's not a deal for him. And I think that was with the Cardinals paying some of his salary. So it looks like more and more that Arenado is probably staying with St. Louis unless something new pops up.
Right, unless the Red Sox were unable to get a deal done with Bregman, that they were going to pivot to Arenado, but that's not the case, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing with the Red Sox is they can buy their way out of mistakes.
Yeah.
So if that is a mistake and he ends up being awful and he opts in for the next 2 years after this year, the 3 years, they could just wipe the money clean and go get somebody else. It's not that big of a deal to them. They're an organization that can make that move happen. There's a lot of organizations that cannot make that move happen.
That's right. That's absolutely right. I feel like in the modern market, there are players who 100% deserve the money they get. Ohtani, Soto, Machado. You can go Garrett Cole, Corbin Burns. You can go through the list. Guys who are almost sure to return your investment. And then there's that slice right below. And those are the guys you don't want to get because they're going to get paid 98% of what the superstars are made, but they are maybe 80% of the player.
They're going to be getting paid for what they've done and not what they're going to do.
Exactly.
They're in that tier.
Exactly.
The going rate is somebody's going to overpay for them in sense of we're going to pay for what he did in his 20s for the Astros and not what he's going to be able to do in his 30s for the Red Sox.
Yeah. And while they have landed their guy, and I'm sure, WEEI is, celebrating today, and I get it, if the situation was reversed, I'd be super nervous about a guy coming in at that rate who's just dropped his walk rate that far, who's on the wrong side of 30, who there was discussion that his bat speed was dropping a little bit over the last 2 years, and wondering if I just got the wrong side of a guy's career. And, we've had those talks about other contracts, including one here in town in the past, but I would be very worried about that if I was Boston. So, very interesting. And I don't know what the hell's going to go on with Arenado.
I think he's stuck now.
I think he's stuck, yeah.
Unless he just goes on an absolute tear in the first half and he's a deadline
that I
pickup.
could see.
But that would be it. He literally has to play his way out of St. Louis right now.
Yeah.
I don't know why people were associating him with us, other than he had put us on the list of teams he'd be happy to go to.
He put us on the list, and he said he'd play first base if he went here.
I don't get the fit. I don't like it.
He also maybe, if you really wanted to leave St. Louis, probably should have taken that interest from the Astros
Right.
early on and said, but I'm sure he thought he was going to get more offers. It just doesn't sound like it's come together at all.
I think that was the weird timing of the Tucker trade happened, and he was like, "Oh, if you're trading Kyle Tucker, I don't want to be there." But like today, he might have sung a different tune to go to Houston. Sorry about it.
I think he
No
literally thought the Padres or the Dodgers would be interested in grabbing him.
I heard the dot, but there were so many rumors about that. I don't know if that was true or not. I mean, what would
I think I don't.
What the hell would they do with him?
I don't either.
I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying that they
Yeah.
wanted him. I'm just saying I think he thought.
Oh no, I agree. I agree. Yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah.
And I think the rumors kind of supported that. Maybe that was his camp kind of putting that out
Guy
there.
from El
you know?
Toro,
right.
go back to Southern California.
And that's what he
I'm
wanted,
so
Braden.
good
Absolutely.
That they're going to, of course, they're going to come and want to get me. They're two teams that are competing for a World Series, and both teams are like, no,
thanks, but
not for how much.
Yeah, and a
money
return
you're
to the West Coast, like you said.
Well, and he, like Bregman, had some stunning drop-offs in some of his stats. And then you go, do I really want to bank on the next few years of this guy? The last year would tell me I'd want to walk away, and that's what Houston's done. Okay, let's take our last time out of the show. We've gone a little late here, but we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with Ask Us Anything, and you've got about 12 minutes that you can call the show right now. 833-288-0973 is our phone number, 833-288-0973. Let's load up the phone lines here during the commercial break, and we will take you. If you call between now and 1:50, we'll get you on the air. Just have a question ready to ask the show, and we'll do that right after this. Andy and Elsten wrapping things up on the Fan. I like this song in this segment for tomorrow. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Bar song.
Oh, yeah.
Go into the weekend, get a little tipsy.
Good vibes.
Yeah, let's set this as our Friday go home song.
The second Shabuzi song we've played today.
I like Shabuzi.
I don't mind Shabuzi.
Yeah, he's fine.
The country rapper from Virginia.
Yeah. Hey, let's mix it all up, man. La mezcla. Okay. Last segment, Gwen and Chris coming up. Padres spending money. Padres over the luxury tax.
They must be getting tipsy at the bar.
Yes.
Everybody's getting tipsy.
At the Moon Saloon or whatever it's called.
Me and Nick Pavetta got a history. We don't.
That's a foul, dude. That is such a bad joke. Are you kidding me? It's not even Friday yet.
It is the last segment.
Go to the
though.
bench.
Fair.
Play the bumper.
Play the bumper. Eight 833-288-0973 is our phone number. 833-288-0973. Owen in El Cajon called in a while ago. Hi, Owen. Ask us anything.
Hey, guys. Happy Thursday to you.
Happy Thursday back to you.
Happy Thursday.
Thank you very much. I had a question for Braden this time.
All right.
Who is your favorite TCU athlete, and who is your favorite TCU non-athlete to attend the school?
Non-athlete?
Wow.
Let's go.
My favorite
Carpenter?
TCU athlete, honestly,
Ladanian?
it's not a pro. He didn't. When I was working for the team, I loved the way this guy played. His name's Derek Kindred. He was a safety. That guy was badass. I loved
Nice.
watching him play. So I'd probably say him, although they all have a special place in my heart watching them play. But I'm going to go with Derek Kindred because I think everybody would say, like, oh, LaDainian Tomlinson
Right.
or
Right.
Andy Dalton or
Matt Carpenter.
Matt Carpenter, right? So
Oh, Matt Carpenter went there.
yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a frog. Andrew Kashner's a frog. I'll have a list.
Cool.
Non-athletes, I don't know, probably my friends. Non-athletes, I mean, I guess I went to the Bob Schaefer College of Communication. I guess you could say Bob Schaefer.
Bob Schaefer.
There you go.
You know who's
Thank you, guys.
a
Happy Thursday.
Thank you, Owen.
famous TCU alum is Luke Wilson.
Okay.
Owen
Oh, that's
Wilson's
cool.
brother went to TCU.
All right.
He's definitely famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that counts or not, but they've had a lot of famous alumni. But non-athlete, your favorite non-athlete TCU alum.
That's solid.
Yeah,
Solid work on his part.
That is very much so. Derek Kindred was a dog. That guy was badass. Love watching him play.
833-288-0973. Phone line's still open for the next 3 minutes. So if you want to dial in, give us a call. 833-288-0973. Here's Lou in Leucadia. Hi, Lou. Ask us anything.
Atmospheric river. Are these major league salaries that are deferred going to proliferate, or do you ever see MLB cracking down on that and applying the whole thing to the cap?
Okay, you had a rough connection
Phone
there.
was cutting out, Lou.
Yeah, it's weird sound like you were slapping cards while you were doing it.
Goes at the casino, man.
Yes. Nonetheless, his question was about deferments and whether those are something that MLB will crack down on or whether they will allow it to continue as such. And I would say stay tuned for the new CBA in 2027.
Yeah, deferments have been going on for 25, probably longer years. I mean, this isn't a new thing that the Dodgers started. Now, they got a lot of attention because of how many they were doing and the big names behind them, but
That's why they have Bobby Bonilla.
they've been deferring. Exactly. Their teams have been deferring for a long time. So perhaps now that there is so much attention and you see so many other teams maybe grumbling about it, CBA, I would think that they're definitely going to discuss if they should do something.
There's going to be so many things discussed in that new CBA. We'll see if deferrals even get into that. Because if we start to talk salary cap, salary floor, salary this, salary that, deferrals will be down the list.
It gets pretty tight. It gets pretty tough. They're going to have a lot to figure out in that CBA. And then also like the TV situation, there's a lot to figure out.
Those are definitely getting addressed. And I'm sure the current contracts would be like grandfathered in and everything.
And the players have to agree to something, so you got to make it worthwhile to the Players Association. And
we won't be playing until August.
833-288-0973. One last chance for you to call if you'd like. Here's Dexter in Spring Valley. Hi, Dexter. Ask us anything.
Dexter.
Hi, guys. Okay, so I was going to...
Is it on?
Is it
I
us?
could get on.
It could be,
So,
yeah.
anyways, Braden, you might have to wiki this to help them. In honor of the latest Padres pitcher that was signed from the KBO, what is your favorite Nippon Baseball League or KBO team name?
You know what? I got really familiar with these team names in COVID when we were like watching
them.
These guys, all these
Watching
teams
Eduardo
play.
Perez call the games at 3 in the morning.
There's some great ones.
Nippon Ham.
Isn't there Kaboom? Isn't there one called
Yeah,
Kaboom?
Kaboom Heroes.
Kaboom Heroes.
I like the NC Dinos. I'm going to go with them. Isn't that where good old Kyle's from? I like the Dinos.
Yeah, okay, Dinos. That works. Let's see. Now we'll prove definitively. Is it us or is it them?
Yeah, okay.
Here's Will in Oceanside. Hi, Will. Ask us anything.
Oh, it's us.
It's us for sure.
Yeah, it might be because I just have a question. Since we got those two pitchers, what are our needs going to be now? And I'll take it off the air. Thanks.
What going to be?
I don't know. We got dealing cards on the audio.
Jeez.
What happened to the audio?
Maybe because it's raining or something.
Maybe
the
because
rain,
it's raining.
the
Or the
gremlins,
fact that it's not a real
the
phone.
gremlins
it's
from the
through
rain.
computer.
Something about
Now that we got
pitching?
the pitchers, was it the depth chart? I'm sorry,
What's
man.
the next move?
What's the next move?
What's the next
Let's
thing?
get a DH. Let's spend
Sure,
another
yeah, I'll
million
go
and
with
let's
that.
get a DH.
Mhm.
I'm down.
Maybe a trade if the right value comes up. But now that you've made the moves you have, you don't have to make a move just to make a move.
No.
You can do it for value.
Yep.
All right, we've got some great questions in the chat that we will use to wrap things up because apparently the phone lines are cursed. Ferris says, would you rather get $200,000 right now or $10,000 a year the rest of your life?
How long do I live for?
How long? Wait, what's 200,000 like
Well,
divided by 10?
you'd need more than 20 years.
I'm going to go 10,000 the rest of my life.
Okay.
10,000 a year? I'd rather I'll take the 200 up front.
Well, wouldn't I get more money if I
you
go
last-
10,000?
if you live long
If I
enough.
live that long?
Well, it's worth less.
But yeah, how much will 10,000 be worth
that's
21
true.
years from
It's
now?
like if I won the lotto, you take the money
You
up
take the
front.
money up
You
front.
Don't put
You
that
don't
out.
take the payments.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I get your point.
Yeah, I'd take it up
Yeah.
front because then you can put it in the bank and get interest.
yes.
And then
You'll probably
You could grow your investment.
You'll probably be eventually making more than the 10 grand a year in just in interest payments.
All right. Yeah, Jocelyn says YOLO, Annie. Okay, I agree. Take it up front.
Take it up front.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
$1 is worth more today than it is tomorrow.
Juan asks, what's your favorite rainy day movie?
Do you have specific rainy day movies?
I don't.
Just favorite movie?
But I guess you could be like, hey, I don't know, curl up and
feel good movie.
Watch a movie.
Probably High School Musical.
You don't even know the
kidding.
cast
Starring
of that.
Zac Efron, your favorite?
You sure it's not Justin Bieber?
I'm just kidding.
I love Fargo. Fargo's a great movie, and it's snowy
Yeah.
and cold, so that could be a good rainy day movie.
I like Wedding Crashers.
That's a great one.
Mom, the Meatloaf.
Yeah. Just,
Mom, the meatloaf.
I don't think it's a rainy day
What are you
movie,
doing now?
but-
Crashing funerals.
Oh, cozy
my God.
movies. Okay, then I like any kind of Netflix rom-com
Netflix rom-com.
that are totally cheesy and you know how it's going to end, but still you watch it.
Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Satan's Blowfish asked me, what is my Spanish Duolingo score and my current streak?
Oh, what is that?
Didn't the bird die or something?
Bird didn't die. What are you talking about?
The Duolingo owl?
A bird died?
Still bothers me every day. I don't know why.
It said it died on Twitter.
No way.
It passed away. Yeah, there's a huge thing on it. You didn't see that?
No, I got to investigate this.
Yeah, I thought he died.
I don't want it to die.
How'd the bird die?
I don't know, but
It's
like
a cartoon. It can't die.
they killed it, and then like Dua Lipa was
The
all upset about it
Tamagotchis
too.
died.
Yeah, died. Charisma knows. She saw it. R.I.P.
Well,
the owl.
I hope I
Duolingo
didn't kill
owl.
it by freezing
Well,
my
so
streak the
what
other
is
day.
what does it have now? What is Duolingo
Oh, you're right. He's got two
have now?
X's on his eyes.
He's dead. I told you, he died.
Why would you kill off your bird?
Your
in the-
mascot?
in the
I don't know.
app?
Killing mascots should be a double offense.
Doesn't make sense.
It says, together, if we really try, we can bring Duo back.
That's what.
What do you have to try to do? Do you have to give them money? Is it
More
like a
sign-ups.
GoFundMe?
Get more people to sign up.
I think that you need to do like 30 lessons in a month, and then
You can
then you
save
bring
them.
them back to life.
Can you please? You got to bring it back.
Oh,
Craig.
wow.
Jeez, I guess I feel some pressure now.
You should. Looking at Bird's life on the lines right now.
I am on a 2001 day streak.
Oh, that's really good.
Wow. Now, have I used freezes along the way? Yes. Which is why my Spanish score is only 79, not 100.
New York Mike. Dinger must go. Killed by a Cybertruck.
Oh, no.
I am the mascot rep.
It's heartbreaking.
I'm out there defending the
information.
mascots.
I have a feeling in 3 days he will rise again.
Yeah, the bird.
Duolingo.
Bird will fly once more.
Dua Lipa even put out a sad tweet about it.
Jeez Louise.
Dua Lipa?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not Duolingo?
Huh.
No.
For Braden and Annie, I'm Craig. See ya.
Bye.